Chapter 38. As soon as Long Chen said those words, his fingers had already completely grabbed Bai Shiji's neck, and he had even used all his strength. Bai Shiji was already seriously injured to begin with, and at this moment, he could not breathe properly. His eyes immediately widened, and when he vaguely saw Long Chen, he immediately trembled in fear, and actually spat out a mouthful of black blood. His face was filled with shock, and his entire body was trembling. Seeing Bai Shiji's appearance, as well as Long Chen's cold gaze, the Bai family members were also scared to the point of trembling, and temporarily stopped their hands. Seeing his own son in such a miserable state, Bai Zhanxiong's eyes almost spat out fire. He stared straight at Long Chen and said, "Stop right now. If Bai Shiji is gone, your entire young family will die a miserable death. You will also die a miserable death. I will definitely torture you to death." Seeing Bai Zhanxiong's fiery gaze, Long Chen was not afraid at all, and the strength in his hand did not decrease in the slightest. "It's just death either way. I'm not afraid of you. At most, I'll just cripple myself. What can you do to me? However, your son Bai Shiji's injuries really can't be delayed any longer. If this drags on, in less than an hour he might die." Long Chen said it in a very indifferent tone, but seeing Bai Shiji's current miserable state, the Bai family immediately became extremely nervous. At this moment, the Bai family's two great hopes were in Long Chen's hands, and even the Bai family's patriarch could not help but be cautious. Long Chen was right. If these four people died, even if they could get rid of the young family, the Bai family would not have a next generation. In the next generation, other than them, the strongest was only at the 4th level of the Dragon Vein realm, and would not be able to take over Bai Zhanxiong and the others. At this moment, seeing that the Bai family was finally scared, Long Chen laughed coldly, dragged Bai Shiji and Bai Zhanxiong's bodies, and walked towards the Yang family's ancestor. Bai Zhanxiong stood in front of them. Long Chen raised his head and looked at him coldly. "Get out of the way." Of course, Bai Zhanxiong couldn't let them. Seeing Long Chen kidnap Bai Shiji and Bai Shichen, he also wanted to learn from him and turn around to kidnap the Yang family. However, when he turned around, the Yang family knew what he was thinking. Although the Yang family members would be killed if they used their true energy, they would at least be able to complete one attack. Laughing heartily, the patriarch looked at Long Chen with admiration. "Well done, boy," he said. "However, we will not become your burden. If the Bai clan dares to touch us, this old man will let them have a taste of the profound dragon seal of the 9th level of the Dragon Vein realm. I want to see how many people in the Bai clan can stop them." At this time, the Yang family's ancestor finally woke up from his dream of brotherhood. He looked fiercely at the patriarch of the Bai clan and said, "Bai Sheng, I, Yang Congqiong, am naturally useless. I only learned the word ruthlessness today, and it's all because of you. You want to get rid of our Yang family, but let me tell you, it's impossible without paying a price." Bai Zhanxiong could not kidnap the Yang family, and Bai Shiji and the others were still in Long Chen's hands, so he did not know whether to advance or retreat. It was very embarrassing. When he saw that Long Chen's hand had already squeezed a deep mark on Bai Shiji's neck, and that Bai Shiji was already foaming at the mouth, he stared at Long Chen with eyes full of killing intent, and moved out of the way. Only then did Long Chen and the Bai clan meet up. At this time, the Bai clan finally gathered together. The patriarch of the Bai clan stood at the forefront, and the other experts, including the eldest brother of the Bai clan, Bai Zhanlong, were also staring at Long Chen. Bai Shichen was Bai Zhanlong's son, and he had always been Bai Zhanlong's pride. However, when he saw his son in such a miserable state and didn't know if he could be cured, his desire to kill Long Chen wasn't any weaker than Bai Zhanxiong's. The Bai and Yang families began to confront each other, and Long Chen was holding the two heroes of the Bai clan hostage, standing at the forefront. Seeing that the most insignificant person in the Yang family had become the backbone of the Yang family, the Yang family suddenly felt like they were dreaming. Young Xueqi was also so excited that she could not say a word. She stared blankly at Long Chen's back. Although she wanted to apologize immediately and beg for his forgiveness, she could not do so now. However, at this time, Long Chen turned his head and glanced at her. Long Chen did indeed hate young Xueqi in his heart. Everything he did was just to prove himself. At this moment, Bai Shiji had already been defeated by him, and Bai Zhanxiong had also been forced into a sorry state by him. All of this, Long Chen had seen most of it for this woman. When he turned his head, he was prepared to show off and let young Xueqi completely understand who was the real trash. When he saw young Xueqing's teary eyes, Long Chen was startled. He retracted his arrogant gaze and turned his head woodenly. He suddenly felt that this woman was so fragile at this moment. Although Long Chen had always wanted to portray himself as a person with a heart of stone, at this moment, he realized that his heart actually ached for her. It was as if with this woman looking at him from behind, he could ignite endless fighting spirit, so his bone-chilling gaze once again met the Bai family member's eyes. At this moment, Yang Yuntian, who was next to Yang Xueqi, also looked at Long Chen in a daze. The conflict between the murder of his son and the fact that Long Chen had saved the Yang family, these two contradictions were constantly fighting in his heart. The Yang family's patriarch stood next to Long Chen, looked at the Bai family's patriarch and said, "Bai Sheng, you are also a smart person. Your Bai family could have easily destroyed my Yang family today. But your younger generation did not live up to expectations. Now that the situation has come to this, you can no longer take care of my Yang family, unless you are willing to ignore the Bai family's future and watch these juniors die with your own eyes. I don't want to say more. Give us the antidote, and we will let the four of them go. As for our grudges, our roots are in Baiyang town. If you want to fight, there will be plenty of time. I, Yang Tsongqiong, will risk my life to accompany you." Although the Yang family members had been poisoned by the nightmare flower, they still had the power to kill. If Yang Tsongqiong used the Taishan dragon seal on the other disciples of the Bai family, there would probably be many casualties. Moreover, there were still 4 important juniors in the hands of the opponent. If the Bai family really chose to fight to the death at this time, it was estimated that even if the Yang family was destroyed, the Bai family would not be left with many people. Although the Bai family members were extremely unwilling, this matter was already a foregone conclusion. Even if they were unwilling, they had to accept it. At this moment, Long Chen also said coldly, "If you still have a brain, be tactful and give us the antidote. The Yang family can wait, but it seems that Bai Shiji can't. Let me see. At this rate, I think he will not last more than 15 minutes. Bai Shiji's life was hanging by a thread. If they did not save him now, he would not be able to save him in a while." Although Bai Zhanxiong was the most unwilling in his heart, especially when Long Chen's performance reminded him of the past, he was even more unwilling. However, he could see that his son did not have long to live, so he said with a panicked expression, "Father, today we have already failed." The Bai family head looked coldly at the Yang family ancestor. His heart was also filled with unwillingness. After planning for so long, today it had all been ruined by the hands of a nameless brat like Long Chen. How could he be willing? Bai Zhanxiong also knew that today's accident was completely because of Long Chen, and he was filled with regret. Back then, I sent people to assassinate him because I felt that this brat's existence was troublesome, and might affect Yang Xueqing's feelings for me. However, I did not expect that in the end, it would be ruined by him. He moved closer to the Bai family head's ear and said, "Father, when this matter is over, second uncle will be free. At that time, he can ask his friends from the Scarlet Blood sect to help, and the Yang family will be destroyed. Today's failure, even if we endure for 10 days, can't we still win it back? But we won't be able to win back Jianqing's life." The conversation between Bai Zhanxiong and the Bai family head was repeated by Lingxi to Long Chen. Long Chen furrowed his brows. He didn't know what Bai Zhanxiong's words meant. However, he knew that even if the Yang family managed to escape today, they wouldn't have a good time in the future. The Scarlet Blood sect that Bai Zhanxiong mentioned was a terrifying force. The Bai family head was shaken. He also understood that today was a complete failure, so he waved his hand and said to the Yang family ancestor in a low voice, "I can give you the antidote, but you'd better not do anything to me. As long as one of my 4 grandsons has an accident, today's ending will be endless." The Yang family was the victim today, but they were completely unharmed. The ending they wanted was to leave this place safely. As for the future battles, they would naturally have to wait until they returned and the Yang family recovered. The Yang family ancestor did not want to cause any more trouble at this time, so he said, "Give me the antidote, I promise they will be fine." The Bai family head took out a bottle from his sleeve. This was the antidote for the nightmare flower. It was made from the root of the nightmare flower. The Bai family members had not been poisoned today, they had all taken the antidote. The nightmare flower was also a kind of elixir. As long as the root and petals were taken together, it would have a certain effect on increasing one's cultivation. "How about this, you give us the antidote first, I'll release 2 first, and when we recover, we'll release 2 more." The Yang family ancestor said lightly. Regarding the Yang family ancestor's cautiousness, the Bai family head snorted disdainfully. He directly threw the antidote to the Yang family ancestor's hand and sneered. Yang Tsongqing, you've been such a coward for the past few decades. I've already lost today, but I don't want to play with you anymore. However, you must be careful from now on. Once you leave the Bai family's door, our two families will be like fire and water. The Yang family ancestor ordered Yang Wu and Yang Lingyue to release Bai Shidong and Bai Zhixing. The two immediately cried and ran towards their father. The Yang family ancestor opened the bottle and smelled it himself, confirming that it was the smell of the nightmare flower's root. Father, let me try first. Yang Xueqi suddenly said. The Bai family is full of tricks. We can't trust them easily. You are the strongest person on our side. If you fall into their trap, we will all be finished. The Yang family ancestor smiled and said, Don't worry, Qing'er. Father has let you down today. I've embarrassed you. As he said that, he directly took out some powder and then passed the bottle to Yang Qingxian. He sat down and adjusted his breathing. In less than a quarter of an hour, his vigorous aura burst out again. A pair of eagle eyes suddenly opened. Long Chen looked at him and felt his heart palpitate. The antidote is real, quickly take it. With the Yang family ancestor's confirmation, the rest of the Yang family quickly took the antidote and recovered their strength in half a quarter of an hour. Now, the overall strength of the Yang family was slowly equal to the other side. The Yang family ancestor signaled to Long Chen and said, Return it to them, there will be a chance to catch them later. From the moment you came in today, I knew that you were much more outstanding than them. The reason why Long Chen wanted to kill Bai Shiji before was to prove it to Yang Xueqi. Now that he had discovered such a big accident, there was no need to prove anything. As for Bai Shiji, he was no match for him at all, not now, and definitely not in the future. Therefore, Long Chen was not interested in his life or death. With a casual throw, the two figures flew towards the Bai family. The Bai family immediately caught them. When they saw that the two geniuses of the Bai family were in such a miserable state, the Bai family looked at Long Chen as if they were looking at a dead man. Bai Zhanxiong carried his dying son to the person behind him and looked at Long Chen with eyes filled with killing intent. He said, You definitely won't be able to live for more than 10 days. Enjoy your last days. I thought you wouldn't be able to live past today. Long Chen said indifferently. Chapter 39. Today's show was truly over. The Yang clan, which was supposed to be destroyed, had been saved by Long Chen's appearance. Not only had he destroyed two of the Bai clan's hopes, but he had also allowed the Yang clan to leave the Bai clan unscathed. At this moment, the Yang clan members looked at Long Chen in a completely different light. There was admiration, gratitude, and even fear in their eyes. The Yang clan's patriarch had been plotted against by his own brother, nearly destroying his own clan. Therefore, he did not say another word to the Bai clan leader. With a gloomy expression, he led the Yang clan members out of the Bai clan. Among them, Yang Xueqi was still wearing a bright red dress. As they walked out of the main gate, Long Chen walked to the side, with Yang Xueqi and Yang Yuntian in front. Long Chen's attention was completely focused on Yang Xueqi, and he had neglected the struggling Yang Yuntian. In his mind, on one hand, Long Chen had saved the entire Yang clan, and on the other hand, there were bits and pieces of his son's life. He had witnessed his son's growth, and had witnessed his son's every joy, anger, sorrow and joy. Half of his life was filled with memories of Yang Zhan, and Yang Zhan had died because of Long Chen. Zhan, when can I avenge you? He can even kill a 7th-layer Dragon Vein Realm expert. I promised father that I wouldn't touch him before the demon hunting competition, but now that the demon hunting competition has passed, after tonight, I will no longer be his opponent, and I will never be able to kill him to avenge you. Zhan, what do you think I should do? Do you hate him? Yes, I hate him too, but today, he saved the Yang clan. It was only 20 steps away from the main gate that Long Chen had destroyed. During this period of time, no one could see the struggle in Yang Yuntian's heart. Everyone was immersed in the joy of surviving. Even Long Chen had forgotten that Yang Yuntian was his greatest enemy. Yang Yuntian thought back to everything that had happened to his son, and the hatred in his heart grew. When he thought about how he would never have a chance to deal with Long Chen after tonight, his face went pale. Gritting his teeth, his eyes filled with madness. He was only 2 steps away from Long Chen. At this time, he suddenly turned around and blasted a meteor fist at Long Chen. At such a close distance, all Long Chen could do was stretch out his arms to block. But even so, the punch that was completely out of his expectations still shook his blood and chi, and directly sent him flying out of the Yang family's territory, directly to the Bai family's side. This was such a huge incident that everyone was startled. Immediately after, the people of the Bai clan started laughing crazily while the people of the Yang clan looked at Yang Yuntian in anger. Second brother, you're crazy. Yang Xueqi was shocked, but at this time, no one cared about punishing Yang Yuntian. The Yang family patriarch, Yang Qingxian, and Yang Xueqi immediately burst out with speed and chased after Long Chen. Although Yang Yuntian's attack was blocked by his arms, Long Chen was still injured. Because of this injury, he could not control his body and flew backward. In mid-air, he thought about the place where he would land, where a group of people of the Bai clan would be. Long Chen was a big fish that had delivered itself to their doorstep. The people of the Bai clan hated Long Chen to the core, especially Bai Zhanxiong and Bai Zhanlong, who could not wait to skin Long Chen alive. At this time, they could easily kill Long Chen, so how could they let go of this opportunity? Long Chen was also greatly alarmed. The three experts of the Yang family had chased after him, but they were clearly a bit too slow. At this time, Long Chen suddenly turned around and saw Bai Zhanxiong, who was closest to him, with an excited sneer on his face. On his finger, a black energy suddenly spun. From the looks of it, his aura was 10 times stronger than when Bai Xueqi used the Nether Paradise finger. Long Chen was shocked. The anxious warnings of Yang Xueqi and the others behind him had already been transmitted over. Long Chen had just dispelled the power of the meteor fist in midair and immediately formed a dragon seal. And this time, what shocked everyone even more was that Long Chen's meteor chain was even more abnormal than before. He was actually forming seals with both his hands, and he was completing 2 azure dragon seals with both hands. Yang Xueqi, who had originally seen Bai Zhanxiong use the Nether Paradise finger, had a deathly pale face. She had almost given up all hope, but at this moment, the enormous aura of the double azure dragon seal suddenly appeared in Long Chen's hands. The enormous aura caused the 3 people of the Yang family to tremble. 2 hands dragon seal? How is this possible? Even I can't control this kind of azure dragon seal so accurately. The Yang family patriarch's heart was filled with shock, because this was simply too unbelievable. Back then, he had obtained this dragon seal from a mysterious place and had used it for so many years. He had never thought that the azure dragon seal could be used like this. However, Long Chen knew that all this was due to the mysterious dragon jade. It was because of it that Long Chen could learn the azure dragon seal so quickly and bring forth new ideas to achieve perfect control. Even in midair, his speed was still very fast. When Bai Zhanxiong stabbed out with the demonic finger, a cold light flashed in Long Chen's eyes. He suddenly pushed out both hands, and a vast power suddenly appeared. The pale red chi suddenly turned into the image of a divine dragon, and this time, it was completely 2 divine dragons intertwined. When it collided with Bai Zhanxiong's nether insight finger, an expert at level 8 dragon vein stage, a powerful force exploded out. Because Long Chen was in midair, he was immediately sent flying by the chi and directly hit the wall on the side. The high wall actually collapsed from the impact, causing dust to fill the sky. At this time, Bai Zhanxiong had already rushed out and quickly caught up with Long Chen. At this time, Long Chen was not injured, but Bai Zhanxiong had already caught up with him. Bai Zhanxiong was much stronger than him, but Long Chen was also not a person who would easily admit defeat. On the other side, the Yang family's 3 people had just arrived. The Yang family patriarch held down Yang Qingxian and immediately went out. Yang Xueqi, because she was worried about Long Chen, went out faster than the Yang family patriarch. The Yang family patriarch could not stop her, so he could only rush out. On the other side, the Bai family patriarch took Bai Zhanfeng out of the hall through the collapsed wall and immediately blocked in front of the Yang family patriarch and Yang Xueqi. Obviously, they wanted to deal with one person at a time. Yang Qingxian was left here to protect the other Yang family members, and the Bai family still had Bai Zhanlong, who was at the 8th level of the Dragon Vein realm. The 3 parties had already started fighting outside. Yang Qingxian was anxious, but with Bai Zhanlong restraining him, he had no way to save Long Chen. In the end, the Yang family still lacked an 8th level Dragon Vein realm expert, which was why Long Chen was directly facing Bai Zhanxiong. With the others, Yang Qingxian looked coldly at Bai Zhanlong and moved out of the hall. Bai Zhanlong also led the experts of the Bai family to keep Yang Qingxian in check. As long as Yang Qingxian did not interfere in the battle between Long Chen and Bai Zhanxiong, it was enough. This time, the Bai family's target was only Long Chen. Today, Long Chen's performance was too heaven-defying, too arrogant and despotic. The Bai family knew how fast Long Chen's strength had increased recently, and how terrifying his talent was. If Long Chen did not die, in another 2 or 3 years, the Bai family would be the ones to die. Therefore, for them, Long Chen was a greater threat. This kind of genius from the opponent's camp must be strangled in the cradle, so that they could live in peace. The Bai family members had a tacit understanding. The Bai family patriarch stopped the Yang family patriarch, Bai Zhanfeng stopped Yang Xueqi, and Bai Zhanlong restrained Yang Qingxian. All of this was to give Bai Zhanxiong enough time to kill Long Chen. At this time, the Yang family and the Bai family had moved outside. In this high-level battle, people like Yang Lingqing and the others could not intervene, and could only watch anxiously. The Bai family and the Yang family made such a big noise at the wedding banquet. At this time, as long as the guests were not drunk, they rushed over. Seeing such a scene, they suddenly showed a look of disbelief and began to talk loudly. What's going on? Aren't the Bai family and the Yang family relatives? Why do they look like mortal enemies? The Bai family patriarch is fighting against the Yang family patriarch. That's Yang Xueqi and Bai Zhanfeng. That's Bai Zhanxiong. Who is his opponent? Isn't that the son of Yang Sanyang, who has been in the limelight recently? He dares to fight against Bai Zhanxiong? How is this possible? God, what's wrong with this world? Look, the Bai family patriarch and Bai Zhanfeng seem to be restraining their opponents. It seems that the Bai family really wants to kill him, but why? I heard that Bai Zhanxiong's son was castrated by him. Is this true? Because of this, the two families started a war? In such a situation, this boy will die without a doubt. In the Yang family's camp, everyone looked at the battlefield nervously and then angrily at Yang Yuntian. Today's situation was caused by Yang Yuntian alone. At this time, even Yang Yuntian's daughter, Yang Lingqing, looked at her father in disbelief and said, "Father, I know he killed my brother, but he didn't mean it. Moreover, he saved the entire Yang family today. How can you do this?" Facing his daughter's questioning and the angry eyes of his clansmen, Yang Yuntian was too ashamed to show his face. He could only turn his face away, not daring to meet their eyes. At this time, almost everyone let out a cry of surprise. Yang Yuntian turned his head and was immediately shocked. Taishan Dragon Seal? How is this possible? This boy is only at level 6 of the Dragon Vein realm. How can he use the Taishan Dragon Seal? What? Even the Yang family patriarch and Yang Xueqi, who were anxiously fighting against the Bai family patriarch and Bai Zhanfeng, looked at Long Chen with extreme shock. At level 6 of the Dragon Vein realm, he could use the Taishan Dragon Seal that could only be learned at level 8 of the Dragon Vein realm. This Long Chen is really heaven-defying. Seeing the Taishan Dragon Seal, everyone in the Bai family knew that if they did not kill Long Chen tonight, the whole Bai family would probably be wiped out by him in the future. Such a heaven-defying monster, if I were a member of the Bai family, I would also swear to kill him with my life. But haven't the Bai and Yang families always been on good terms? Is it because of the management rights? That's most likely the case. When Long Chen used the Taishan Dragon Seal, Bai Zhanxiong's eyes were filled with madness. The talent of the young man in front of him was so strong that he was jealous and even afraid. It was as if he saw Long Qinglan in the past. Bai Zhanxiong's heart was filled with frustration, but at the same time, it also increased his crazy killing intent. Boy, you must die. Netherworld Heavenly Finger. Yellow Springs. 9 Revolutions. Chapter 40. Yang Xueqi, your opponent is me. Bai Zhanfeng's roar immediately woke Yang Xueqi up. Although she was fighting with Bai Zhanfeng, her mind was on Long Chen. Today, Long Chen had shocked her too much, and the conspiracy of the Bai family had made her completely give up on the Bai family, gradually melting her frozen heart towards Long Chen. At this time, this young man had occupied an important position in her heart. When Bai Zhanxiong used his strongest move, 9 turns of the Netherworld, on Long Chen, Yang Xueqing's face suddenly changed. Even Yang Xueqi might not be able to withstand Bai Zhanxiong's move, let alone Long Chen, who was only at level 6 of the Dragon Vein realm. Yang Xueqi was extremely anxious, but Bai Zhanfeng was like a fly that could not be driven away. He kept blocking in front of Yang Xueqi. Because Yang Xueqi had been paying attention to Long Chen's situation, She almost fell for Bai Zhanfeng's move several times. One should know that the three Bai family martial artists at level 8 of the Dragon Vein realm were not much weaker. Bai Zhanfeng was not any weaker than Bai Zhanxiong. If young Xueqi did not use her full strength, she might be injured or even killed by him. Seeing that Bai Zhanxiong was shameless enough to use 9 turns of the netherworld to deal with Long Chen, young Xueqing's eyes were filled with anxiety. At this time, Master of the Bai family stood in front of him and laughed. Yang Congqiong, you're really unlucky. Originally, you were lucky enough to have such a great genius among the younger generation, but he was killed by your own family and sent to the Bai family. My Xiong is a level 8 Dragon Vein realm martial artist. It's his luck. Bullshit. The Yang family's old ancestor fought with Master of the Bai family angrily. But similarly, in front of Master of the Bai family, he could not save Long Chen at all. Yang Qingxian was also restrained by Bai Zhanlong. However, Long Chen's mysterious dragon seal had already been formed. Seeing this stable and powerful attack, everyone couldn't help but praise Long Chen again and again. With his age and power, it was impossible for others to use the mysterious dragon seal in its entirety. The 9 divine dragon shadows suddenly rotated into a powerful chi strength, whistling and colliding with Bai Zhanxiong's 9 turns of the netherworld. Bai Zhanxiong's 9 turns of the netherworld was many times more powerful than Bai Xueqin's. Last time, the Taishian dragon seal easily broke the 9 turns of the netherworld, but this time, the situation was completely reversed. Bai Zhanxiong's genuine chi was dozens of times more powerful than Long Chen's. Even if he used combat skills, the foundation was genuine chi. In terms of genuine chi, Long Chen was far inferior to Bai Zhanxiong. Even if he used the Taishian dragon seal well, he was still losing. The surging power gradually annihilated Long Chen's Taishian dragon seal, and the aftermath crashed into Long Chen's body. Long Chen suddenly felt as if he had been struck by lightning, as if he had been hit by a mountain. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fell like a kite with a broken string. Chen-er! Exclamations suddenly rang out. The Yang family's old ancestor and young Xueqing's faces turned livid. They attacked their opponents without any regard for their lives, creating a momentum that was even stronger than the battle between Long Chen and Bai Zhanxiong. And Yang Qingxian, who originally wanted to rescue Long Chen, had already been stopped by Bai Zhanlong. Another 2 experts at the 8th level of the Dragon Vein stage had started fighting. Towards the 2 overlords of Baiyang Town, the other forces could only look at each other in dismay. Their strongest family only had 1 expert at the 8th level of the Dragon Vein stage, so how could they participate in the battle at the pinnacle of Baiyang Town? Chen-er! This cry of alarm caused Long Chen to wake up a little. He could tell that this was Yang Xueqing's voice. Ever since he was young, he had never heard Yang Xueqing speak in such a caring tone. Even though his bones felt like they had fallen apart and his internal organs were injured, although his injuries were not as serious as Bai Xueqi's, it was still very difficult for him to climb up. But when he heard those 2 words, Long Chen felt his body explode with endless power. He let out a low roar and began to climb up from the ground. Even though it was very difficult, even though it affected his injuries and caused his entire body to twitch in pain, he insisted in his heart that in front of so many people, when she showed concern for him for the first time, he should climb up like a man. When he finally stood up under everyone's surprised gazes, his legs were still swaying. Although Long Chen's vision was blurry, he could still see the woman who was looking at him with a face full of anxiety and heartbreak. She was already in danger under Bai Zhanfeng's attack, but her eyes were still looking at him. Seeing this scene, Long Chen immediately felt incomparably proud. He knew that he had finally obtained this woman's recognition through his own efforts. He had won a round for himself and his father. In the past, in Yang Xueqing's heart, Bai Zhanxiong and his sons were outstanding, while Long Chen and Long Qinglan were unbearable. But today, when he saw Yang Xueqing's pained eyes, he knew that he had already won. Right now, in Yang Xueqing's heart, Bai Zhanxiong and his sons were trash, while he, Long Chen, was a heaven-defying peerless genius. Dad, why am I in such a good mood now? Is it just because I've vented my anger? Looking at the woman who was desperately trying to break through the obstruction to save him, Long Chen suddenly realized that his eyes were a little moist. At this time, Lingxi's anxious voice sounded, "Bastard, you're already injured, are you still not willing to let me help?" To deal with an expert like Bai Zhanxiong, Lingxi could indeed save him, but after that, she would probably die. Long Chen would never allow such a thing to happen, so he said coldly, "Lingxi, you'd better not meddle in other people's business. Don't make me hate you." Long Chen's ruthless words even hurt Lingxi's heart. But in fact, in Long Chen's heart, it was for her own good. She originally wanted to help him out of kindness, but when Long Chen said such words, Lingxi suddenly felt so wrong that she wanted to cry. She had already cursed Long Chen thousands of times in her heart. At this time, Bai Zhanxiong was already standing in front of Long Chen. He looked at young Xueqi, who was fighting for her life, and then looked at Long Chen. He sneered, "The relationship between you and your son is really touching. But I wonder what kind of expression he would have if I let him watch you die in my hands." Looking at the situation today, Long Chen could roughly guess that his doomsday had arrived. He could still deal with Bai Zhanxiong, but Bai Zhanxiong was more than 20 years older than him. There was no way Long Chen could make up for such a huge gap. Seeing young Xueqi fight so hard for him, Long Chen was actually very satisfied. On the Yang family's side, Yang Yuntian was already blaming himself. The other members of the Yang family were all looking at him with worried and admiring eyes. He had gone from being an abandoned hedonistic son of a rich family to where he was today. It could be said that he had done a good job. And the biggest regret in this life was Long Qinglan. He had yet to solve the mystery of Long Qinglan and Long Yu. When he thought of Lingxi again, Long Chen could only hope that she would find someone who would help her find the medicine to nourish her spirit after his death. Looking at Bai Zhanxiong coldly, Long Chen did not have the slightest intention of dying. He was neither servile nor overbearing as he said, "You can defeat me, so there is nothing to be proud of. I have already won today. Not only did I win against your useless son, but I also won against you. I know that you were defeated by my father, and you were defeated by me today. What is there to be proud of?" Speaking of Long Qinglan, Bai Zhanxiong's eyes suddenly became ferocious. He sneered and said, "Are you saying that I lost to that useless thing? It seems that you still don't know how that useless thing died." Bai Zhanxiong's words caused Long Chen's pupils to shrink. Although he was no longer clear-headed, his eyes seemed to have turned into sharp blades that pierced towards Bai Zhanxiong. Bai Zhanxiong laughed wildly and said in a low voice, "I heard that some useless things are addicted to alcohol, so they got someone to put something in him, and then he could marry his wife." Bai Zhanxiong's words immediately struck Long Chen like a bolt out of the blue. Regarding this aspect, Long Chen had never thought about it because Long Qinglan was a very clear person. Before his death, he did not mention why he suddenly died, so Long Chen naturally forgot about it. He only felt that his father's identity was strange, and even his death seemed special. Long Qinglan's face before his death was black, which was clearly a sign that he had been poisoned. Only an idiot like him did not notice it. Now that he recalled the series of events, Long Chen suddenly realized that Long Qinglan's death was actually Bai Zhanxiong's doing. No wonder Bai Zhanxiong appeared at the Yang family and started planning the marriage as soon as Long Qinglan died. Long Chen stared at Bai Zhanxiong's smug smile, and a crazy blood color began to surge into his eyes. As soon as it surged, the blood color did not subside. At this moment, Long Chen's black pupils had completely turned blood red. A desolate and bloody aura was gradually emitted from Long Chen's body. "Is that so? So it was you who caused my father to die early?" This truth made all the blood in Long Chen's body boil. He felt his heart twitch. The blood-red dragon shadows that had disappeared from various parts of his body began to appear because of his anger. At this moment, Long Chen's entire body had turned into a dragon's nest. Endless blood dragons crisscrossed in his body. Bai Zhanxiong was the first to feel that something was wrong with Long Chen. However, he thought that Long Chen was just angry. He enjoyed looking at Long Chen's hateful but helpless gaze. Actually, he should have died a long time ago. "I was already very merciful when I let him die at that time. You should have died as well, but there was a small accident. I thought that you were a spoiled brat who could be killed with just a few people. I didn't expect you to be so tenacious and hold on until today. However, after today, you can reunite with your useless father. Obviously, I am such a merciful person." Looking at him, Long Chen did not speak. "Father, if you had told me earlier, I would have worked harder and not let this grandson live to this day. Although you don't care about your own life, I care about Bai Zhanxiong." Monstrous anger surged through Long Chen's body like a tidal wave. As he watched Bai Zhanxiong's maniacal smile, Long Chen's blood aura became heavier and heavier. It felt like his entire body was about to explode. At that moment, the mysterious dragon jade suddenly vibrated. The lower inheritance blood essence was actually attracted to it again. Chapter 41. Seeing that Bai Zhanxiong seemed to have said something in front of her son, and that Long Chen's eyes had turned blood red, young Xueqi became even more anxious. However, Bai Zhanxiong was still shamelessly restraining her. Their strength was equal, and young Xueqi was still concerned about Long Chen's safety, so it was even more impossible for her to break his restraint. Suddenly, there was an exclamation. "Look at that kid!" Suddenly, everyone's eyes were focused on Long Chen. At this time, Bai Zhanxiong also felt that something was wrong. His expression changed, as he knew that if he didn't kill Long Chen, something bad would happen. This time, it was the attack of the nether heavenly finger. Long Chen was defenseless. When the Yang family saw this scene, their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. However, the next moment, a layer of red light appeared beside Long Chen. Bai Zhanxiong's finger was bounced off by the light. Bai Zhanxiong also retreated awkwardly. His shocked expression looked hilarious. At this time, Long Chen's consciousness was once again immersed in his sea of consciousness. In his vision, the dragon jade and the inherited blood essence were merging again. Soon, the dragon jade completely turned blood red. The blood-red dragon pattern with 9 dragon veins appeared again, and a trace of blood-red power flowed in the dragon veins of the dragon pattern again. Long Chen suddenly showed a look of ecstasy. Last time, it was like this that he learned the blood-refining technique, a heaven-defying divine ability. But now, the trajectory of true qi was obviously different, which meant that this time, he was about to learn another kind of divine ability, and he believed that it would not be bad. While watching the trajectory, Long Chen also circulated his light red true qi. Although he was still in his sea of consciousness, Long Chen could still feel that his body was undergoing a drastic change, and he could also hear the exclamations of the people outside. When the dragon jade completed all the trajectories and separated from the inheritance blood essence again, Long Chen felt that he had almost finished using the newly learned god art. An ancient message flowed into Long Chen's mind. When Long Chen learned the name of this magic, his consciousness had already left his sea of consciousness and he saw his own body. At this time, his whole body was covered with blood-red dragon scales and sharp bone spurs. His strength had increased more than 10 times, and his light red true qi had now completely turned blood red. And everyone was shocked to see the huge change in Long Chen's body. The Yang family patriarch and the others had gradually stopped fighting. It's the same change as that night, but the difference is that from now, I can control this transformation. This is the Dragon Soul transformation. Long Chen sneered when he sensed that his strength had increased immensely. He knew that the others were all shocked by his current transformation. The entire place was deathly silent. After a few breaths of time, someone actually muttered, This should be the beast spirit transformation of a beast warrior. When did he become a legendary beast warrior?" The words beast warrior suddenly appeared in many people's minds. They felt that Long Chen had become a lot stronger. Everyone was happy and worried. And Bai Zhanxiong, who was already a little panicked, still stood in front of Long Chen, but the horrible bloody aura of the other party had already made his face pale. Before everyone could come back to their senses, Long Chen's eyes locked on Bai Zhanxiong. Then, under everyone's shocked gazes, he turned into a blood-red shadow and rushed towards Bai Zhanxiong. As he moved, his hands quickly formed a seal. A total of 9 blood-red divine dragons, which were much clearer than before, roared and twined around his hands, letting out horrible dragon roars. And the vibrating energy fluctuations between his hands made many people feel cold. When Long Chen used the most powerful move, the Taishan Dragon Seal, the aura of his body would even suffocate an expert in level 8 Dragon Vein Realm. Even an expert in level 8 Dragon Vein Realm would find it difficult to use this move. An expert in level 8 Dragon Vein Realm from a second-class family in Baiyang Town said in shock. The head of the Bai family also saw that Long Chen had used such a powerful move. He had a higher vision and knew that this move might not be so terrifying. Suddenly, his face changed and he exclaimed, "Xiong dodge." But it was too late. Seeing that Long Chen had suddenly become so powerful, Bai Zhanxiong's eyes were filled with disbelief. When he killed Long Chen, he was blocked by the blood-red light film, but now he clearly felt that the light film had disappeared. He had another chance to kill Long Chen, so how could he dodge? "Bastard, your father died in my hands, so you will definitely die in my hands today. This is the fate of your family. No matter how you struggle, it's useless. The 9 revolutions of the netherworld didn't kill you just now, so I'll let you try again." Hades' heavenly finger. 9 revolutions of the netherworld. Really? While advancing at high speed, the supreme mystery dragon seal had completely taken shape. A huge amount of energy surged into the sky. Long Chen's entire body seemed to have transformed into 9 blood-red divine dragons, roaring as he charged toward Bai Zhanxiong. Along the way, the stone slabs on the ground were shattered into pieces, flying in the air. Father, you must be too ashamed to tell me that you died in the hands of a nobody like Bai Zhanxiong, so you didn't bother to tell me. But today I will avenge you. The 9 blood-red dragons suddenly shook the ground. At this time, Bai Zhanxiong's 9 revolutions of the netherworld went to block Long Chen. The 9 revolutions of the netherworld, which could injure Long Chen previously, was completely reversed at this time. The blood-red Taishan dragon seal shattered the 9 revolutions of the netherworld. The energy of the Taishan dragon seal hit Bai Zhanxiong, whose face was filled with madness and disbelief. Suddenly, all his clothes and belongings were shattered. Xiong'er. Third brother. The other experts of the Bai family were about to rescue Bai Zhanxiong, but at this time, the patriarch of the Yang family and the others sneered and stood in front of the Bai family. However, seeing that Long Chen had suddenly become so powerful, they were also shocked, especially young Xueqi. At this time, her heart was still completely filled with Long Chen's fierce appearance. That bloody and perfect dragon soul transformation filled her heart with pride. Was I really so wrong in the past? What was I thinking at that time? In the end, he is still my son. After Long Chen defeated Bai Zhanxiong, who was at level 8 of the Dragon Vein stage, the small forces that were spectating kept quiet out of fear. The Yang family had produced such a heaven-defying monster. In the future, the situation of the Bai family being number 1 and the Yang family being number 2 in Baiyang town would probably be broken. They all stared at the blood-red figure and swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Is he still the playboy from before? The huge contrast before and after made everyone feel a little parched. At this time, the situation had changed dramatically. Originally, the Bai family restrained the Yang family, while Bai Zhanxiong tortured and killed Long Chen. Now, the situation was completely reversed. The Yang family restrained the Bai family, while Long Chen tortured and killed Bai Zhanxiong. When Long Chen seriously injured Bai Zhanxiong with the Taishan dragon seal, everyone was looking forward to what Long Chen would do next. Among the Yang family crowd, Yang Yuntian looked at the blood-red figure and squatted on the ground in pain. He knew that he really could not avenge his son in this life. At this time, Long Chen was like a giant rock that flew to the blue sky that Yang Yuntian could never touch. And Yang Lingqing was also looking at the person who had protected her. Tears were already welling up in her eyes. In her heart, the current Long Chen had long become an omnipotent god. Kid, let go of my son. Seeing the seriously injured Bai Zhanxiong in Long Chen's hands, the head of the Bai family was immediately terrified and shouted at the top of his lungs. Seeing the pained look on his face, Long Chen laughed coldly. A sin caused by heaven can be forgiven, but a sin brought on by oneself cannot be forgiven. Then, he looked at Bai Zhanxiong in his hands. At this time, Bai Zhanxiong looked the same as Bai Xueqi during the day. His face was pale, and he was spitting out black blood. His eyes looked at Long Chen in horror, and his incredulity turned into despair and begging. Spare me please, I don't want to die. Seeing that he was so spineless, Long Chen looked down on him even more. He said indifferently, if you knew this would happen, why did you do it? It would have been better if you didn't say that you killed my father. Now that I know the truth, even if I have to die, I won't let you die easily. As he spoke, Long Chen's voice became louder and louder. Almost everyone present heard him. It turned out that Long Qinglan was killed by Bai Zhanxiong. No wonder Long Chen looked at him with such hatred. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for not killing me immediately just now. Instead, you let me know the truth and make me angry. But I won't make the same mistake as you. Under Long Chen's cold gaze, Bai Zhanxiong had a bad premonition. Long Chen's scarlet eyes caused his entire body to tremble uncontrollably. He began to scream miserably, because he could already feel that the blood in his body had turned into knives, piercing through his muscles and skin, and being sucked into his body by Long Chen's strange scales. This was the first time Long Chen had used blood-refining qi on someone, and it was while he was still alive. Because you killed my father, I naturally have to give you a special treatment. Bai Zhanxiong. Enjoy this feeling. At this moment, Bai Zhanxiong's miserable screams and begging for mercy sent a chill down everyone's spine. Looking at the cold blood-red figure, they all took a few steps back. When he heard his own son let out such a shocking scream, the Bai family head's eyes turned blood-red. He roared, "Yang Tsongqiong, get out of my way! Let my son go! The Yang family is courting death." The Yang family head's expression did not change. He continued to attack and said, "I also want to ask you now. You're already so old, but how did you manage to keep this ridiculous naivety in your heart until now? If Bai Zhanxiong defeated Chen now, would the Bai family stop?" The Yang family old ancestor returned the words that the Bai family patriarch had once said to him back to the Bai family patriarch. In his heart, there was no need to mention how happy he was. In fact, the one who felt the most depressed tonight was him. His decades of brotherhood had been shattered on this day. Although he did not say it out loud, the blow to him was too great. Tonight, Bai Zhanxiong's screams were completely engraved in everyone's heart. However, when they saw the bright red blood break through Bai Zhanxiong's skin and rush excitedly into Long Chen's body, everyone gasped and felt their scalps go numb. They were really terrified of Long Chen's means. Bai Zhanxiong's blood also contained a huge amount of energy. The genuine qi achieved through blood-refining qi was of greater help to Long Chen than spiritual jades and beast cores. At this time, Bai Zhanxiong's essence and blood were all refined by Long Chen. A huge wave of energy swept through Long Chen's body. It's time to break through the seventh dragon vein, the human dragon vein. Chapter 42. When Bai Zhanxiong's shriveled body fell to the ground, the entire place was silent. Then, the head of the Bai family roared crazily. However, in front of the Yang family patriarch, who was filled with hatred, he couldn't break out of the circle no matter what. With Bai Zhanxiong's death, the Bai family's operation today could be considered a complete failure. While everyone was fighting, some members of the Yang family revealed the Bai family's plot. The small and medium-sized forces in Baiyang town finally understood the cause and effect. If the Bai family had succeeded tonight, they would have been the sole overlord of Baiyang town. No one would have dared to say anything about their ruthlessness. However, the Bai family had failed. Even Bai Zhanxiong, the real senior figure of the Bai family, had died. The Bai family's reputation had instantly fallen to the bottom. Coupled with the fact that the Yang family had produced a heaven-defying genius like Long Chen, many people already had a plan in mind as to how they should stand. When they saw that Long Chen was actually attacking the human dragon vein, they became even more determined. A blood-red dragon surged in his body. The power refined from Bai Zhanxiong's blood was no less than Long Chen's original true qi. Although the human dragon vein was longer and thicker than ordinary dragon veins under the impact of such a large amount of power, it was still not a hindrance. The blood-red dragon of true qi was like a hot knife through butter. After a quarter of an hour, the human dragon vein was suddenly broken, and a dragon roar was heard. Long Chen was still in his dragon soul transformation form. At this time, his true qi was soaring rapidly. Because of the tenfold nature, although he was only at the 7th level of the dragon vein, the destructive power of his true qi was almost equivalent to that of an 8th-level dragon vein. Coupled with the dragon soul transformation form, Long Chen's real combat power had reached the point where it could really soar. Only Long Chen himself could truly understand just how powerful he was at the moment. When he was still at the 6th level of the dragon vein, he could already kill Bai Zhanxiong, who was at the 8th level of the dragon vein. Now, his strength had basically increased by more than tenfold. The bloody and murderous aura all over his body made almost everyone present break out in cold sweat. Now, Long Chen had completely surpassed the level of the younger generation and reached the top level of Baiyang town. Although the Bai family head's eyes were bloodshot, when he saw Long Chen standing up, he really accepted his fate. When Long Chen stood up, there was no need to continue tonight's battle. Only then did the Yang family patriarch and the others abandon their opponents and meet up with Yang Qingxian and Yang Xueqi. They all stared at Long Chen in a daze. Although they knew that Long Chen was getting stronger, they were still in their hearts. The Yang family didn't want to continue fighting. Furthermore, the Yang family had a heaven-defying Long Chen. If they continued to fight, the Bai family would suffer heavy casualties. Therefore, the Yang family didn't want to fight. Although the Bai family was furious, they didn't dare to do anything because of the Bai family's patriarch. There was no need to stay in the Bai family anymore. The Yang family patriarch looked at Long Chen and said, "Chen, let's go home." Long Chen thought that he would have to kill everyone in the Bai family today, but looking at the old man's cold face, he knew that it was not necessary. After all, the Yang family patriarch had been friends with the other party for a long time. Today's upheaval must have caused this old man's heart to be in great pain. The Bai family patriarch was heartless to the Yang family. The Yang family had already killed Bai Zhanxiong and Bai Zhanyun, and seriously injured Bai Shurchen and Bai Xueqi, so there was no need to continue killing. Only then did Long Chen deactivate his dragon soul transformation. The true energy in his body returned to a light red color, but it was only 4 times stronger than the other true energy. At this time, Long Chen's handsome appearance and elegant temperament made people completely unable to associate him with the previous king of massacre. However, this kind of Long Chen made the Yang family feel closer to him. When Long Chen walked into the Yang family's encirclement, those admiring gazes never stopped. This made him feel somewhat flattered. Suddenly, he saw young Xueqi. She was smiling at Long Chen, who was surrounded by a group of people. When Long Chen looked at her, she lowered her head in embarrassment. There was only regret left in her heart. Yang Yuntian, who was at the side, had a pained expression on his face, but he didn't say a word. At this time, Yang Wu and Yang Lingyue walked to Long Chen's side. Yang Lingyue said awkwardly, "Thank you for today's matter. Not only did you save us, but you also saved the entire Yang family. You're a great benefactor to all of us. I'm talking to you because I want to apologize for bullying you in the past. I'm really sorry. I hope that we can become better cousins in the future, just like you and Ling Qing." "Okay." Yang Wu also nodded and said, "I'm really sorry. In the past, we were short-sighted and thought that you were a stain on our Yang family. I didn't expect you to be the true hero. You taught us not to look at people with a one-sided view. Thank you very much." To be valued like this, to be honest, Long Chen was really embarrassed in his heart. He was just like that. If others treated him well, he would treat them better. If they treated him badly, he would treat them even worse. "All right, there's no need to thank me. I just want to take revenge and help you along the way." Long Chen's tone and expression were very funny. Yang Wu, Yang Lingyue, and some of the younger generation of the Yang family finally relaxed and laughed together. Long Chen raised his head and saw Yang Qingxian also smiling at him. Long Chen knew that Yang Qingxian had encouraged Yang Wu and Yang Lingyue to come. Towards this uncle of his, Long Chen had no prejudice. Yang Qingxian had always been neither good nor bad to him, and Long Chen's creed was that as long as he wasn't bad, he wouldn't hate him or anything. Feeling so many enthusiastic eyes around him, Long Chen suddenly felt that the Yang family was actually quite warm. It was just that his previous performance as a playboy was indeed a little disappointing. Looking at the Yang family old ancestor walking at the front, this old man was walking alone at the front. Yang Qingxian had tried to persuade him several times, but was always pushed back. Yang Qingxian saw that persuasion didn't work, so he thought of letting Long Chen go up. Now that Long Chen's status in the Yang family had skyrocketed, he was no longer at the level of the #1 disciple among the younger generation. When he walked next to the Yang family old ancestor, he found that the old man's eyes were a little red. Being betrayed by his brother of many years, and almost causing the death of all his descendants, this kind of blow was very big for him. Seeing Long Chen walk up, the Yang family old ancestor looked at him, then looked at the Yang family that was about to arrive, and murmured, "You don't have to persuade me, I know what to do in the future. But boy, let me give you a warning, if you go out in the future and have your own brother, you must feel his heart, whether it is poison or hot blood." Long Chen said thoughtfully, "I know your heart is hot blood, and that old Bai is a poison bottle." After returning to the Yang family, the Yang family old ancestor sat in the seat of honor, and then pulled Long Chen to sit next to him. The others also sat in order. Seeing Long Chen in such a special position today, no one had any objections in their hearts. The Yang family old ancestor took a sip of tea and said, "Most of what happened today was my fault, so I apologize to you first. As an elder, I almost caused you all to die." Yang Qingxian held his hand and said seriously, "Father, you don't have to blame yourself. We all know that this is not your fault. If you want to blame someone, you can only blame Bai Shang for being cruel and unscrupulous." "Yes, Grandpa, we all understand." Seeing that the younger generation understood him, the Yang family old ancestor's heart was relieved. His eyes swept across these descendants. The most exciting thing today was that the Yang family had gone through such a disaster, but did not suffer any losses. Everyone knew that this was all because of one person. The Yang family old ancestor's eyes finally swept over Yang Yuntian, who had his head lowered. His eyes turned cold, and the Yang family old ancestor said, "Second brother, stand up." Yang Qingxian knew that when he returned home, his father would be angry at Yang Yuntian, but seeing the old man's ashen face, he could not say anything for the time being. In fact, if it was not for Yang Yuntian's last move, today's matter would have been over. It was because of Yang Yuntian that the Yang family and the Bai family had a war, and today the Yang family's great hero had almost died. "Second brother, what do you have to say?" Yang Yuntian raised his head. He was very calm at this time, and sighed. He looked at Long Chen and the Yang family old ancestor, and said, "Father, I have nothing to say. Today, my purpose was to give justice to my son, but I failed in the end, and I will not have this chance in the future." "Pah!" The Yang family old ancestor slammed the table, and the younger generation immediately fell silent. "Don't you feel a trace of guilt in your heart? Our family's grievances should be solved by ourselves. When did we need to use the enemy to eliminate our own family?" Yang Yuntian bit his lips and did not speak. Seeing his disappointing appearance, the Yang family old ancestor was so angry that his nose became crooked. He angrily said, although the main reason for Zhang Er's matter was Chen Er, but it was also because his temperament was not strong enough. With such a weak temperament, even without Chen Er, who knows who would have killed him in the future? It's your fault for not teaching your son. It's all your fault. Blindly pushing the blame to others. Is this the style of our Yang family? The Yang family old ancestor's words completely woke Yang Yuntian up. His eyes revealed a pained expression, and he clenched his fists tightly. He thought to himself, "Father is right. I have spoiled Zhang Er all these years. If it wasn't for me letting him do whatever he wanted, and standing up for him at the slightest thing, his temperament would not be so weak. Yang Yuntian, in the end, the one who caused your son's death was actually you." This caused him to fall into the abyss of self-blame and pain, unable to extricate himself. The pain in Yang Yuntian's eyes, as a father, how could he not see it? He sighed and said to Long Chen, "Today he harmed you. How you want to punish him, it's up to you." The Yang family old ancestor gave the power of execution to Long Chen. At first, everyone was a little surprised, but after thinking about it, they felt that it was indeed reasonable. They couldn't help but look at Long Chen expectantly. The Yang family had already experienced such a disaster, and to be honest, in their hearts, they didn't want anyone to be punished. However, Long Chen's personality was a bit hard to understand. Today, Yang Yuntian almost caused his death, so it was normal for him to feel resentment. Seeing everyone looking at him, especially Yang Lingqing, the pleading expression on her face made Long Chen's heart ache. Long Chen also knew that in the future, if he still wanted to live in the Yang family, Yang Yuntian's matter would have to be resolved once and for all. In front of everyone's nervous eyes, Long Chen stood in front of Yang Yuntian. "I indirectly caused your son's death. It was my fault first. But today, you almost caused my death as well. Since we are both in the Yang family, I don't want our grievances to continue. How about we write it off?" Chapter 43. Based on Yang Yuntian's understanding of Long Chen's character, he knew that Long Chen was a person who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. Yang Yuntian had almost caused his death this time. Then when the Yang family's old ancestor had handed the right to execute him to Long Chen, Yang Yuntian knew that the odds were against him. Yang Yuntian knew that a person like Long Chen wouldn't keep someone who could endanger his life by his side at any time. However, Long Chen's words were completely out of his expectations. When the rest of the Yang family heard Long Chen's words, they all heaved a sigh of relief. Yang Lingqing smiled happily and looked at Long Chen sweetly. The reason why Long Chen wanted to let Yang Yuntian off was simple. First of all, although Long Chen hadn't expected Yang Zhan to commit suicide, it was true that Yang Zhan had died because of him. He had caused the death of Yang Zhan's son, so it was normal for Yang Yuntian to seek revenge on him. Therefore, he didn't think that Yang Yuntian's actions tonight were unbelievable. The second reason why Long Chen wanted to let him off was because he was Yang Lingqing's father. Long Chen had a good relationship with Yang Lingqing, and he doted on this cousin of his very much. Naturally, he wouldn't make things difficult for Yang Yuntian at this time. The third reason, which was also the most important one, was that from today onwards, Yang Yuntian would no longer be his opponent. Lifting his head to look at Long Chen, Yang Yuntian said in disbelief, "Are you sure? You want to write off everything between us?" Long Chen nodded and said, I only hope that you can keep your promise. I don't want to live in the Yang family and have to be on guard against you at all times. If that's the case, I might as well just kill you. Looking at this young man, Yang Yuntian couldn't believe his eyes when he thought about the rapid changes in him recently. Long Chen's excellence had completely surpassed his imagination, so he could only nod woodenly and say, I, Yang Yuntian, will naturally keep my promise. The Yang family ancestor also looked at his grandson with a gratified expression, secretly nodding his head, feeling a trace of relief in his heart. Then he said, all right, since we've reconciled, then from now on, our Yang family will be united against the Bai family. Whoever dares to cause trouble for their own family, I will be the first to not spare him. Looking around again, the Yang family old ancestor sighed and said, I'm a little tired. Everyone should go back and rest for today, but for the next few days without my orders, no one is to go out easily, understood? Hearing the Yang family ancestor's order, everyone nodded and was about to leave when Long Chen suddenly said, Grandfather, wait a moment, I have something to say. When he said this, he glanced at Yang Xueqi. But tonight, Yang Xueqi should be very embarrassed and regretful. She didn't lift her head. The Yang family ancestor said solemnly, Chen, if you have something to say, then say it, we're all listening. Grandfather, before my father died, he wanted me to change my surname to Long, and from now on, please call me Long Chen. I hope grandfather will allow me to fulfill my father's last wish. As soon as Long Chen said this, everyone was a little nervous, especially Yang Xueqi. Her body trembled a little, but she still didn't lift her head. In the past, Long Chen didn't have the strength or status, so he couldn't say Long Qinglan's words out loud. However, after tonight's events and the surge in his strength, he knew that it was time to do so. The Yang family ancestor looked at him nervously. Chen, you want to leave the Yang family? Are you blaming us for not treating you well enough? Long Chen shook his head and said, I don't mean that. Half of my blood still belongs to the Yang family. My status in the Yang family will not change. I just want to follow my father's surname. It's just a name change. On one hand, it was Long Qinglan's wish, and on the other hand, it was Long Chen's insistence. The Yang family ancestor had no reason to disagree, and Long Chen didn't want to leave the Yang family because of this. So he nodded and said, since it's Long Qinglan's last wish, then do as you wish. Finally fulfilling one of Long Qinglan's wishes, Long Chen nodded excitedly. At this time, the others also bid farewell to the Yang family ancestor and left. Yang Qingxian was the last to leave. He turned back and said, Father, you must be tired today. Go back and rest. We still have to hand over the management tomorrow. The Bai family might come to cause trouble. The Yang family ancestor shook his head and said, Let me be quiet for a while to sort out my thoughts. Xian, you go. Yang Qingxian could only nod helplessly. Tonight, it was destined to be a sleepless night. After bidding farewell to the others, Long Chen walked towards his residence. Not long after, he suddenly discovered that Yang Xueqi had climbed over the wall. Just now, the Yang family ancestor had instructed that without his order, no one was to leave the Yang family residence. He didn't expect that Yang Xueqi would forget it in the blink of an eye. Long Chen's biggest gain today was to make this woman look at him in a different light. After 16 years, Long Chen finally felt that blood was thicker than water in her. This was great news for him. At this time, seeing that Yang Xueqi had actually left the Yang family residence, Long Chen was naturally concerned about her safety and followed her out. Little she, where do you think she's going? Get lost, I don't want to talk to you. Long Chen suddenly felt cold sweat. Previously, because he was afraid that she would harm her own life, he said some cruel words. He didn't expect that this girl would still bear a grudge. Long Chen could only coax her. Good girl, I accidentally said the wrong thing at that time. You can just treat me as a big stupid donkey, okay? Woof woof woof. Lingxi giggled and then corrected him. That's a dog barking, stupid, that's what a donkey barks like, hoo. So you're the donkey. Go to hell, go to hell. Hero, spare my life. It was not easy to coax Lingxi so that Long Chen's ears would not be tortured by her. Lingxi stabbed Lingxi's sword into his ears and turned it into an earring, so that she could torture him at any time. However, at this time, he saw that Yang Xueqi was already heading out of the town, so Long Chen hurriedly followed her. After walking for a long time, he suddenly felt that this road was a little familiar. Thinking about it carefully, wasn't this the way to Long Qinglan's grave? Long Chen had never brought young Xueqi here, so he didn't expect her to know about it. However, with her influence in the Yang family, it was indeed a very simple matter for her to find a grave outside the town. Soon, young Xueqi stood in front of Long Qinglan's grave, staring blankly at it. Long Chen looked at her from afar. He didn't know what this woman was doing here. Unexpectedly, young Xueqi didn't say anything. She sat on the ground, leaning against the tombstone, staring at the distant stars in a daze. The pouring starlight illuminated her eyes and white cheeks, making her look extremely beautiful. Seeing this scene of his mother leaning against his father's tombstone and staring at the sky in a daze, Long Chen suddenly felt a little touched. To him, this was a sweet scene that he had never seen before. "She's talking to herself," Lingxi suddenly said. "What is it?" Long Chen asked anxiously. Lingxi listened for a while, then imitated young Xueqing's tone and said a few words. "If you hadn't treated me like that back then, why would I hate you? Why would I hate my own son? Long Qinglan, in my eyes, you are a madman." Long Chen was stunned. So in young Xueqing's eyes, Long Qinglan was actually a madman? Why did she think so? Long Chen had always thought that young Xueqing had abandoned him and his father because Long Qinglan had become a cripple. Who would have thought that there was more to it? Long Chen stared blankly at young Xueqing's dark and pained expression. At this time, Lingxi continued to imitate. "You searched the entire Myriad Kingdom domain to find a woman with a constitution like mine, just to give birth to a descendant that meets your requirements. I know that you are high above, far beyond my imagination, but you don't have the right to trample on my feelings. Today, Chen finally said that he wants to take the surname Long. You've still won. No matter what, I'm not a match for you. Perhaps in your eyes, a commoner like me is simply not worthy of someone as high and mighty as you." Young Xueqing's words completely shocked Long Chen. Only today did Long Chen understand why young Xueqing was so cold to him. It wasn't because she was cold by nature, but because Long Qinglan had indeed caused her great pain. Long Chen knew that Long Qinglan came from a very powerful place, and his status must have been high as well. Long Qinglan's previous strength was definitely higher than the 8th level of the Dragon Vein realm that everyone thought he was. That was just what he had shown when he arrived at Baiyang Town. Long Chen could guess what had happened. Long Qinglan's cultivation had been destroyed by the Dragon Jade, but he didn't want it to disappear just like that. So he wanted to give birth to a descendant with a constitution that could use the Dragon Jade, and so he found young Xueqing. What happened next was just as young Xueqing had said. However, after young Xueqing learned the truth, she couldn't accept that she was just a tool for reproduction. Long Chen was Long Qinglan's heart, but to young Xueqing, he was something that had robbed her of happiness and emotions. The more Long Qinglan valued him, the more she hated him. That was why everything had turned out this way. However, in the past, Long Chen had always been muddle-headed. When he finally began to shine, young Xueqing finally knew that she had lost. At the end of the day, she was just a pitiful woman. At this moment, the hatred he had for young Xueqing had finally dissipated. At this moment, Long Chen was truly at ease. The two people who had the biggest conflict with him in the Yang family, Yang Yuntian and young Xueqing, were no longer estranged from each other. It wasn't like before, where they would treat each other coldly even if they were in the same family. Instead, they were united against outsiders. This was a feeling that Long Chen had yearned for. "Father, I know you've put in a lot of effort, but you've also done something wrong. You've let her down. Forget it. Long Chen, will help you atone for your mistakes." Thinking of young Xueqing's life, Long Chen's eyes turned a little red. She was indeed a little pitiful. When she thought that she had met her true love, she didn't expect that she was merely a tool to be used to cultivate the next generation. When she finally thought that she could reap the rewards of happiness, she was cheated again, and even almost harmed her father and brother. Thinking of how he had treated her in the past, Long Chen felt that he was also guilty. "She's crying so miserably. Long Chen, I am going to cry too." Under the moonlight, young Xueqing was currently burying her head in pain as she wept. Her soft sobs made Lingxi's heart ache as well. Long Chen clenched his fists tightly, then let out a sigh. "It's time to reduce the hatred I have for her in my heart. Single day, 1,000 flowers, 300 VIP, 300 mobile phone PK3. On top of the 3 chapters. Add 1 more chapter. Keep your word. Stamp the biggest stamp and add 3 chapters. Daily limit of 6 chapters. 20,000 words. Chapter 44. Yesterday was the monster hunting competition in Baiyang Town, and today was the day to announce and hand over the management of Baiyang Town. Such a big ceremony was attended by all the forces and families in Baiyang Town. The sky had just turned bright, and there were already tens of thousands of people gathered in the square of Baiyang Town. These people were all famous figures in Baiyang Town, and there were also the leaders of all the forces within 10 miles of Baiyang Town. The management of Baiyang Town was decided by the performance of the younger generation of the Bai and Yang families in the monster hunting competition. From this, it could be seen that the Linggu family valued the family's potential more. At this time, no one from the Bai and Yang families had arrived, and everyone here was talking about the big event last night. The news had spread throughout Baiyang Town. There were two things that shocked people the most. One was the Bai family's cruel plot, and the other was the Yang family's super talented descendant. You don't know if you haven't seen it. That blood-red scale armor, and those bone spikes that are sharper than your sword. Bai Zhanxiong couldn't even block one attack from him. The 9 turns of the Netherworld Finger was completely defeated by the Yang family's Taishian Dragon Seal. Now everyone is saying that this little guy is the 3rd most powerful warrior in Baiyang Town. The 3rd most powerful warrior at the age of 16? He's truly a peerless monster. He's even more shocking than Long Qinglan back then. The 2 so-called geniuses of the Bai family are obviously overshadowed by this young genius. Everyone, stop talking. The Bai family is here. The crowd parted to make a path, and the head of the Bai family took the lead, walking into the huge square with a gloomy face. Seeing the ferocity of the Bai family, many forces kept quiet out of fear. But secretly, they were still cursing the Bai family. After all, everyone respected the righteous strong, and those who used underhanded means to kill their brothers were destined to be despised by everyone. The Bai family's arrival made the scene very gloomy. Suddenly, someone shouted, "The Yang family is here." The crowd parted to make a path, and everyone greeted the Yang family's ancestor and the others warmly. The Yang family's ancestor and the others also warmly returned the greetings. At this time, more people looked at the legendary monster, Long Chen's appearance, and everyone was full of praise. He really looks like he's around 16 years old, but he's already so accomplished. My son has reached the 4th level of Dragon Vein, and he's been too arrogant for the past few days. If I let him take a look at this youth, he'll know that there's always someone better out there. A true genius should be like this. When the Bai family saw that he had arrived, no one made a sound, but when the Yang family appeared, everyone greeted him or praised him. This was supposed to be an honor that belonged to the Bai clan. Who would have thought that it would be taken away by the Yang clan? Instantly, everyone's face darkened even more. This Bai family was about to become a black family. At this time, Long Chen also looked at the Bai family. Today, there were not many people from the Bai family, only Bai Shang, Bai Zhanlong, Bai Zhanfeng, and an old man with sharp eyebrows surprised Long Chen. Isn't this the old man who guarded the evolution god fruit? Lingxi asked curiously. Although Long Chen had only taken a quick glance at this old man, Long Chen believed that he and Lingxi would definitely recognize him. At this time, as he looked at the old man's appearance, Long Chen discovered that there was a red dot between his eyebrows. There was also a red dot between Long Chen's eyebrows, but it was 1,000th of the inheritance blood essence. At this time, it had retreated to his eyebrows, and it was very dim. If one did not look carefully, it would be hard to notice. However, the red dot between the old man's eyebrows was painted with a special material. Even under the sunlight, it was still dazzling. Long Chen had seen it before. Bai Zhanxiong used the ladies of the Jadeite Jade building to trade with a group of people with a red dot between their eyebrows. Those people's red dots were basically the same as this old man's. Last night, Long Chen heard Bai Zhanxiong mention Second Uncle and the Scarlet Blood Sect. This old man's eyebrows were somewhat similar to the Bai family head, so he must be the second uncle they were talking about. And he was guarding the evolution god fruit. After connecting the series of events, Long Chen suddenly understood a lot. Before the evolution god fruit ripens, there will be a strange phenomenon. At that time, only the Yang family and the Bai family will fight for it. The evolution god fruit is very important to any family. The Bai family is probably worried that grandfather will snatch the evolution god fruit or spread the news that the Bai family obtained the evolution god fruit. That's why they plotted against the Yang family last night. Before this, Long Chen had always thought that the Bai family's actions were due to a problem of management rights. However, this explanation was too far-fetched. Today, he finally understood the truth of the matter. At this time, the old man also saw Long Chen under the instructions of the Bai family head. He seemed to recall a little, and suddenly his face was full of surprise. His cold eyes stared at Long Chen. Long Chen knew that this old man also recognized Long Chen. It turned out that he was the person who saw the evolution god fruit yesterday. Long Chen knew about the evolution god fruit, so he would naturally tell the Yang family. Therefore, this old man's eyes were filled with killing intent. After he whispered a few words to the Bai family head, Bai Sheng's face suddenly changed. They didn't expect that Long Chen would actually go there during the monster hunting competition. In their opinion, the Yang family most likely already knew about the evolution god fruit. After they discovered the evolution god fruit, they planned to get rid of the Yang family. However, they didn't expect that an accident like Long Chen would happen. Today, the Yang family actually knew about the evolution god fruit in advance. In this way, there might be an accident with the evolution god fruit that was originally in their grasp. How could the two Bai brothers not hate Long Chen? At this time, the Yang family's patriarch also saw the old man. He suddenly frowned and said, "This is bad, this person. Bai Sheng has a half-brother named Bai Li. He has always been in Yuanling City and didn't have much contact with Bai Sheng. This time, he actually came to Baiyang Town. 2 level 9 Dragon Vein Realm experts. He could deal with Bai Sheng alone, but with the equally powerful Bai Li, the Yang family's patriarch had no confidence. However, when he remembered that his family still had a demon like Long Chen, he heaved a sigh of relief. He wasn't clear about Long Chen's current strength, but since he could even kill Bai Zhanxiong, he should be able to hold on for some time in the hands of Bai Li. The Yang family's patriarch still didn't know about the evolution god fruit, so naturally, he didn't know the meaning of Bai Li's appearance here. He also didn't know why the Bai family wanted to attack the Yang family. However, Long Chen furrowed his brows. With Lord Lang here today, of course the Bai family wouldn't dare to cause trouble, but Long Chen knew that the fight for the evolution god fruit would definitely be against Bai Sheng and Bai Li. These two people, Long Chen still had some confidence, but the scarlet blood sect that Bai Zhanxiong mentioned made him worry. In Yuanling City, that young Lord Lang already had such power. Obviously, the people in Yuanling City were much stronger than Baiyang Town. This Bai Li lived in Yuanling City, so he must know many experts. If he interfered in the fight for the evolution god fruit, then the Yang family. Long Chen, who originally thought he could relax a little, suddenly felt the pressure again. He knew that after the evolution god fruit ripened, there would definitely be another big battle. The Bai family had endless means, and Long Chen already had a few more people to protect in the Yang family. If he really had to fight to the death with the Bai family, Long Chen knew that his current strength wasn't enough to protect so many people. At least for young Xueqi, after what happened last night. Although Long Chen couldn't say that he completely forgave her, he wouldn't allow anyone to hurt her. However, Long Chen had killed so many people from the Bai family. Towards the Yang family, the Bai family definitely wouldn't be merciful. This was the heavy pressure in Long Chen's heart. The evolution god fruit will ripen in about 8 days. In 8 days' time, how should I face it to win a complete victory? Just as the two brothers of the Bai family stared at Long Chen with murderous eyes, and Long Chen didn't back down, there was a sudden uproar from the crowd. Long Chen suddenly realized that there was a person on the originally empty high platform. That's right, it was the person from the Lingwu family in Yuanling City, the extremely mysterious Lord Wolf. Today, he was still wearing a cloak to hide himself. In fact, everyone in Baiyang Town knew that this Lord Wolf's voice was very young, and he was probably an even more abnormal genius. When he first met this Lord Wolf, Long Chen couldn't tell whether he was a man or a woman at first glance. At that time, he found that this Lord Wolf was quite kind, and he was very warm and even a little shy. However, when they met yesterday, he might have been working, so when he wore the cloak, he deliberately pretended to be cold. Later, when Long Chen kidnapped a few juniors of the Bai family and went down the barren mountain, it wasn't time yet. However, this Lord Wolf was obviously biased towards Long Chen and ended the demon hunting contest early. Therefore, Long Chen was very grateful to this Lord Wolf. Although Lord Wolf might not think so, Long Chen treated him as a very important person in his life. That feeling should not be wrong. At this time, everyone's eyes were focused on Lord Wolf. Lord Wolf's faint voice also came from under the cloak. Bai family head Bai Shang, Yang family head Yang Tsungcheong, come up. Bai Shang and Yang Tsungcheong didn't dare to disobey this Lord Wolf's orders. They went up obediently and stood in front of Lord Wolf, but they didn't look at each other. Now, I will announce the results of the juniors from both sides in the demon hunting contest. Lord Wolf opened his right hand. Everyone looked over nervously and found that there was only a demon core the size of a soybean. They immediately burst into laughter. Yang family. The demon core of a first-grade yellow-class scarlet-tailed fox. Everyone was stunned. The Bai family's juniors were defeated so badly yesterday. When they saw this pitiful demon core, they thought it was the Bai family's. They didn't expect it to be the Yang family's. Immediately, everyone looked at each other and thought to themselves, could it be that the Bai family still has the authority to manage Baiyang town? When they thought that the ones managing them in the future would be the Bai family's vicious fellows, they felt a chill in their hearts. They were afraid that their days in the future would not be easy. At this time, Lord Wolf was about to speak again. Everyone quickly shut their mouths that were discussing. At this time, Lord Wolf scanned the crowd and opened his left hand. Everyone looked over nervously but found that there was nothing in his left hand. By family, Demon Core 0. Everyone's expression was extremely interesting. Everyone had estimated that the Bai family and Yang family's juniors would get a first-grade yellow-class Demon Core. At the very least, the Yang family would get a first-grade yellow-class Demon Core. They didn't expect that the final result would be the Yang family getting a first-grade yellow-class Demon Core and the Bai family returning empty-handed. Long Chen smiled faintly. There was basically no one hunting demons in the demon hunting contest. The demon core of the scarlet-tailed fox was just something that Long Chen conveniently obtained when he went down the mountain. Chapter 45. In the competition for the management rights between the Bai and Yang families, the Yang family had won with just a red-tailed fox's beast core. For the entire Baiyang town, this was a hot piece of news. Everyone felt as if they were dreaming. If the juniors from my family have the right to participate in the demon hunting contest, as long as we avoid the juniors from the Bai and Yang families, our family will be able to get the management rights. Many people had the same thought. Although they already knew the result, when Lord Wolf officially announced the ownership of the management rights, the faces of the men from the Bai family still turned pale. Without saying anything, Bai Shang walked down from the stage and returned to his family. He stared at the Yang family's ancestor who was standing in front of Lord Wolf. Lord Wolf said with a loud and clear voice, "The Yang family will get the management rights of Baiyang town and become the town mayor's mansion. Yang Tsungcheong will be the first town mayor of Baiyang town. The town mayor's mansion is one of the Lingwu family's forces, and it represents the Lingwu family to exercise its power. If anyone here challenges the town mayor's mansion, it means you are challenging the Lingwu family's dignity." With the Lingwu family's protection, the Yang family could truly be considered as a heaven-defying force. Although he was wearing a cloak, Lord Wolf's cold gaze still made Bai Shang and the others feel numb. They knew that this Lord Wolf's words were actually mostly said to him, Bai Shang. Warning me? But if the Bai family has 2 or 3 divine core warriors, this town mayor's mansion will be useless. Besides, if I kill Yang Tsungcheong, will the Lingwu family still remember a small place like Baiyang town? Fine, since you know about the evolution fruit, just come and fight for it. If I die in the Great Barren Mountain, how will the Lingwu family know that it was me who killed them? Thinking about this, a vicious look emerged in Bai Shang's eyes. Bai Li, who stood next to him, also revealed an evil smile towards the Yang family's ancestor. Right at this moment, Lord Wolf took out a dark yellow pouch from his pocket. There was a blood-red rune engraved on the pouch, and it was emitting a strange energy. Looking at this strange pouch, the pupils of the 2 men from the Bai family instantly shrunk, and the rest of the men looked at it with envy. It's actually a cosmos sack. Beside Long Chen, Yang Qingxian also revealed an excited look. Seeing the puzzled look on Long Chen's face, he said, "The cosmos bag has the effect of containing a mountain in a mustard seed. Don't look at how small this cosmos bag is. The space inside is estimated to be as big as a loft. It is a must-have item for a martial artist to travel outside. This cosmos sack can contain almost all of the important properties of our Yang family." After hearing Yang Qingxuan's words, Long Chen finally remembered that there was such a thing. Indeed, if one traveled outside, with so many belongings on one's person, it would be much more convenient to have a universe bag. Previously, when Long Chen brought the 500 spirit jades with him, he found it extremely troublesome. At this moment, everyone looked at the cosmos sack with envy. Lord Wolf continued to announce, "The Yang family has become the town lord's mansion. These are all rewards from the Lingwu family. If the Yang family can achieve something and manage Baiyang town better, the Lingwu family will give you other rewards." The Lingwu family's rewards were naturally not small. Although many people had already acknowledged and supported the Yang family to become the town lord's mansion, they were still somewhat envious of the Lingwu family's rewards, especially the Bai family. Seeing that the things that originally belonged to their family were now in the hands of the Yang family's patriarch, the armrest of the wooden chair under Bai Shang was crushed. Now that the management rights had been announced and the rewards had been given, Lord Wolf said to the Yang family's patriarch, "Do your best and you will definitely be rewarded. I will come to this Baiyang town again in the future." Seeing that Lord Wolf was about to leave, the Yang family's patriarch hurriedly said, "Send Lord Wolf off." Unexpectedly, Lord Wolf's gaze suddenly turned to Long Chen and said, "Follow me." Long Chen stared blankly for a moment before following Lord Wolf to the back of the plaza. When they arrived at an alley, over 10,000 people stared dumbfoundedly at Long Chen following Lord Wolf. They didn't know what Lord Wolf was doing. Could it be that Lord Wolf sees this guy's talent and wants to bring him back to Yuanling City to groom him? This was probably what most people were thinking now. Even the Yang family's patriarch had the same thought at this moment. However, if Long Chen could receive greater groom, he would also be very happy. Bai Shang and Bai Li looked at each other with furrowed brows. "Second brother, do you think Lord Wolf is going to take him away?" Bai Li sneered and said mockingly, "You think too much. A mere 7th level Dragon Vein realm can only be regarded as trash in Yuanling City. At his age, there are a lot of 7th level Dragon Vein realm experts in Yuanling City, and Lord Wolf is a super genius of the Lingwu family. In his eyes, that kid is just a clown." Hearing Bai Li say this, Bai Shang heaved a sigh of relief. However, thinking that the reward was actually given to the Yang family's patriarch and Yang Cangqiong became the mayor of Baiyang town, he was very unwilling. Because Lord Wolf had not said that he was going to leave, the tens of thousands of people did not dare to leave and waited anxiously. When they came to this alley, Lord Wolf then took off his cloak, revealing that handsome and enchanting little face. After taking off this cloak, the coldness and seriousness that he pretended to be disappeared in an instant and was replaced by a childish air. This change was a little too big, and Long Chen could not react. His thoughts were lawless, and he was actually more familiar with Lord Wolf, so he was not restrained and said with a smile, "May I know why Lord Wolf called me here? Could it be that you have taken a fancy to me?" Lord Wolf's face immediately stiffened, then he smiled bitterly and said, "Have you always been so frivolous? Don't call me Lord Wolf. I have been hearing you call me that these few days, and I feel very uncomfortable. My name is Mo Xiaolang. You can just call me Xiaolang." Mo Xiaolang? Long Chen muttered this name a few times and felt that it was 100 times more intimate than Lord Wolf. So he sized up this young man and saw that he was also staring at him blankly. So he said, "Why are you looking at me?" Mo Xiaolang was a little embarrassed and said, "I saw that you actually became a beast warrior. In a small place like Baiyang Town, you actually know the method to refine beast souls, so I was a little surprised. But this is your secret, so it is not convenient for me to ask. You can advance from the 2nd level of Dragon Vein to the 7th level of Dragon Vein in a little more than a month, so your talent is extraordinary. I just wanted to ask if you are willing to go to the Lingwu family with me. I think you will receive better training there." Mo Xiaolang valued his talent very much, and Long Chen knew that. What he said now was also within Long Chen's expectations. Long Chen indeed wanted to go to a wider world to train himself, but he still had things to do in Baiyang Town, so he could only apologize. "To be honest, I am very grateful that you appreciate me so much, but I still have things to do in Baiyang Town, so..." Mo Xiaolang pursed his lips and said, "Is it because of the evolution fruit? It is indeed a little unfortunate. I have some urgent matters to attend to in Yuanling City. If not, I could have gotten the evolution fruit for you." Long Chen was a little dumbfounded. He felt that the youth in front of him was really too good to him. Could it be because he had once saved a child? Or could it be that this guy was a person with strange hobbies? Long Chen suddenly felt a chill down his spine, and the way he looked at Mo Xiaolang also changed. Mo Xiaolang saw the sudden change in Long Chen's expression, and like a monk scratching his head, he asked, "Are you afraid that I will snatch the evolution fruit? That evolution fruit is already useless to me, so you don't have to worry. But if you want to fight for the evolution fruit, then go to Yuanling City in the future. Obtaining the evolution fruit is indeed very beneficial to you. Looking at this young man's extremely clear eyes, Long Chen finally knew that he had been too evil. But since Mo Xiaolang had good intentions, Long Chen hurriedly said, "If the matter in Baiyang town is settled, I will most likely go to Yuanling City." Mo Xiaolang nodded his head and said, "That's good too." Then, he frowned and said, "Those two old men from the Bai family are not weak, so it's not convenient for me to fight them. You just have to be careful, and reach the mortal core realm as soon as possible before coming to Yuanling City. This is good for you." Then, he took out another universe bag and said, "Take this as a gift for our first meeting. In the future, it will be more convenient for you to travel with this universe bag." Looking at this young man in front of him speaking in a serious and meticulous manner, and his tone was filled with deep concern for Long Chen was actually very touched. He took over the universe bag and looked at Mo Xiaolang with sincere eyes. He said in a serious tone, "This is no longer a gift for our first meeting. If you didn't give me the star combat body, I wouldn't have achieved what I have today." "Xiaolang, thank you so much." Mo Xiaolang smiled embarrassedly and said, "For me, the star combat body is something that has been a long time ago. For you to be able to use its power, you have done him right. If that's the case, I will return to Yuanling City first. This universe bag has my mark on it. If you bring it with you to the Lingwu family, someone will bring you to see me." Long Chen nodded his head. Mo Xiaolang looked at him for a while and said, "I still don't know your name." Long Chen was startled and said, "My name is Long Chen. Why is the surname of the Yang family member Long?" "My mother is from the Yang family, and my father's surname is Long." Mo Xiaolang nodded his head and said, "I see." Long Chen was still confused why Mo Xiaolang was so nice to him. At this moment, seeing that Mo Xiaolang was about to leave, he couldn't help but ask, "You gave me the star combat body and the universe bag. Why are you so nice to me?" Mo Xiaolang seemed to have guessed that he would ask this question. He smiled faintly and said, "I actually don't know, but sometimes the feeling you give me is quite similar to my brother. He also talks like a hooligan. When I was very young, he encouraged me to do bad things every day. He peeped at the servant girls in the mansion bathing, and he asked me to lie to my father that he was kidnapped." Speaking of this, Mo Xiaolang's face lit up with happiness. Not only that, but he suddenly thought that it was a little inappropriate to talk about these scandals in front of Long Chen, so he smiled awkwardly. "So that's why," Long Chen said with a smile, "you are so strong, your brother must also be very strong?" Mo Xiaolang's expression quickly dimmed, and then his eyes exploded with hatred. He clenched his fists and then shook his head. "He was stronger than me, but he died, they all died." Long Chen stilled. Seeing Mo Xiaolang's pained gaze, he thought of himself when Long Qinglan passed away. Biting his lips, Long Chen sighed and said, "Sorry, I brought up your sad memories." "It's okay. It's just that I am useless. Up until now, I have not been able to avenge them. I still have things to do in Yuanling City and have to leave quickly. Remember to come find me in Yuanling City." "Of course." Looking at Mo Xiaolang's departing figure, Long Chen suddenly thought of the Yang family forefather's words. "Boy, let me give you a warning. If you go out in the future and have your own brothers, you must feel their heart, whether it is poison or hot blood." Long Chen suddenly grinned. "My heart is hot blood. Xiaolang, what about you?" Chapter 46. When Long Chen reappeared, the Yang family's ancestor revealed a disappointed look. He knew that Lord Wolf didn't seem to appreciate Long Chen. The Bai family people were relieved. If Long Chen went to Yuanling City with Lord Wolf, even if they could deal with the Yang family, they were afraid that Long Chen, who had improved greatly in Yuanling City, would come back for revenge. The Lingwu family does not even look up to a talented young man like him. This shows how high the threshold of the Lingwu family is. At this time, the Yang family's old ancestor had already returned to the Yang family's camp. Because the old ancestor had become the lord of Baiyang town, all the forces of Baiyang town had gathered on his side, leaving the Bai family alone. What about Lord Wolf? He has returned to Yuanling City." Hearing that Lord Wolf had left, everyone congratulated the Yang family patriarch again before leaving. Tens of thousands of people were preparing to leave the square, but at this time, the Bai family people actually came towards the Yang family, led by Bai Shang and Bai Li. They looked coldly at the Yang family patriarch and Long Chen, their eyes filled with anger and unwillingness. The Bai clan's people looked very aggressive. They were obviously here to provoke them. At this time, the Bai family people came closer, and Long Chen could feel the power of the two experts in the 9th level of Dragon Vein realm. When there was still some distance from the Yang family, the Bai family people stopped. Bai Sheng and Bai Li's gloomy eyes met the Yang family patriarchs. The Yang family patriarch was not afraid of the two experts. Bai Sheng sneered, "Yang family? Town lord residence? Dream on." The Yang family patriarch could not be bothered to talk to him. However, Long Chen found these two old men particularly unpleasing to the eye. He sneered and said, "You two little white dogs. When Lord Wolf was here, you two shrunk your tails. When Lord Wolf left, you two wanted to bite people." The actions of the two experts from the Bai clan were vividly described by Long Chen, causing everyone else to burst into laughter. But being humiliated by Long Chen, the expressions of the two experts from the Bai clan instantly darkened. They looked at each other, then Bai Li looked at Long Chen and said, "What a sharp-tongued little bastard, thinking that he's a genius, but he doesn't know that he's worlds apart from a true genius. It's your misfortune that Lord Wolf didn't take you in. 8 days, I can conclude that you can only live for 8 days at most." When he mentioned the number 8, he sneered coldly. Long Chen knew that he was talking about the fight for the evolution god fruit. However, he still pretended to be confused and said, "I don't know what this Xiaobai dog is talking about. I'm a human, so of course I don't understand." Bai Li was immediately embarrassed and angry, but Bai Sheng pulled him back and sneered in a low voice, "Second brother, you have a sharp tongue. Bickering with him will only anger us. In any case, it won't be long before their entire Yang family is destroyed. Is it worthwhile for us to compete with them here today?" Bai Li also sneered and said, "Fine, let them be happy for a few days. When the time comes." "All right, second brother, is your brother from the sacred sect of red blood reliable? His strength is not something we can fight against. What if?" "Don't worry, big brother. My brother is reliable. With the strength of the mortal core realm, whether it's Yang Tsongqiong or this so-called genius, they are just clowns." Bai Sheng looked at the old ancestor of the Yang family and Long Chen. Thinking that they would be dead soon, he sneered in his heart and said, "You guys can do whatever you want now. When the time comes, you will regret coming to this world when you see all the Yang family members die one by one." Seeing that the Bai and Yang family were about to fight, the crowd was very nervous. But seeing the Bai family leave after saying a few words, the crowd started laughing. The Bai family's performance was really too weak. However, Long Chen frowned deeply. He had a premonition that there would be many twists and turns in the fight for the Empyrean god fruit. If they were not careful, the entire Yang clan might fall into a perilous situation. 2 months ago, if something happened to the Yang family, Long Chen wouldn't care. But now that there was someone he needed to protect in the Yang family, the survival of the Yang family was closely related to his life. "So, Bai family, I can only be at ease if I kill all of you." After returning to the Yang family, the old ancestor gathered everyone once again. The arrangement of the town mayor's mansion was one thing, and the other was the reward for today. Right now the old ancestor only asked Yang Qingxian, Yang Xueqi, Yang Yuntian, Yang Wu, and Long Chen to stay. He took out the Cosmos sack and said, "I've checked the rewards from the Lingwu family. There are 20,000 spirit jades and 3 divine jades. Also, there is a high yellow sword and a high yellow combat skill book." An excited expression emerged on the old ancestor's face when he said this. Not to mention the 20,000 spirit jades, which was almost all the wealth the Yang family had, there were also 3 pieces of divine jade. Each piece of divine jade was the core of countless spirit jades. The spirit chi contained in one piece of divine jade was basically equal to the spirit chi of 10,000 spirit jades. Therefore, the reward of spirit jades alone was almost 50,000 spirit jades. Normally, only divine core warriors could afford to use divine jades. A divine jade could be exchanged for 10,000 spirit jades, but 10,000 spirit jades might not necessarily be able to exchange for a divine jade, because divine jades were much rarer than spirit jades. With these 3 divine jades, the cultivation of the Yang family members would be able to increase at a high speed. Therefore, when everyone heard about the reward, they were all pleasantly surprised. When they heard there was a high yellow sword and a high yellow combat skill book, they couldn't help but smile. One had to know that the Yang family only had one advanced combat skill, dragon seal. Now, no matter if it was in terms of wealth or skills, the Yang family had doubled their wealth. As for the high yellow sword, it was even more incredible. There weren't many spirit swords in the entire Poplar town, let alone advanced yellow rank spirit swords. With this spirit sword in hand, when executed with this advanced yellow rank sword technique, its might would definitely be extremely abnormal. At this moment, the Yang clan's ancestor took out the sword technique, and of course at the same time, he took out the high-grade yellow rank spirit sword. This spirit sword seemed to be made of glass, and it carried a light green color. A sharp aura emanated from this spirit sword, and it was extremely sharp. A sword like this could definitely break a person's hair. This sword is called the Phantom Glass Sword. When the people from the Yang family saw the Phantom Glass Sword, they couldn't help but praise it. This spiritual sword contained powerful energy fluctuations, and if it was used in a fight, it would definitely be able to greatly improve one's combat strength. And this high-grade yellow class sword technique is called the Psychedelic 7 Slaughter Sword Manual. Just from the name itself, one could tell it was something extraordinary. This Psychedelic 7 Kill Sword was definitely not weaker than the Nether Heavenly Finger or the Dragon Seal. If it was combined with the Phantom Glass Sword, perhaps it would be even more terrifying. The Yang family's old ancestor looked at the crowd and said, "The reason I asked all of you to stay here today is to let all of you decide who this sword book and the Phantom Glass Sword belongs to. Of course, anyone can cultivate this sword book, but there is only one Phantom Glass Sword. Therefore, I'm getting old, and the Dragon Seal has consumed all my energy. I need to focus on finding a way to break through to the Divine Core Realm. Therefore, this Phantom Glass Sword belongs to one of you." After that, he turned to Long Chen and said to the crowd, "Chen has made a great contribution to the Yang family, so I'll give this Phantom Glass Sword to him. What do you think?" If Long Chen got the Phantom Glass Sword, of course, everyone would agree. Yang Qingxian and the others nodded their heads in agreement. However, Long Chen said, "Grandpa, the Dragon Seal is enough for me, and I don't plan on learning any sword skills. I think it's better if you give this sword to someone else." Long Chen didn't want the Phantom Glass Sword, because he already had the Dragon Seal of the same level. This was one thing, and the other thing was that Lingxi was an expert swordsman. With Lingxi here, Long Chen didn't plan on learning the Psychedelic 7 Kill Sword. What he needed was a higher level skill, and there was someone in the Yang family who needed this Phantom Glass Sword more than anyone else. Seeing the determination in Long Chen's voice, the Yang family's ancestor thought that even if he learned the Psychedelic 7 Kill Sword, it might not be as powerful as the Dragon Seal. So he nodded and looked at the others. At this time, Yang Qingxian smiled bitterly and said, "Father, I'm the same as you. The Dragon Seal is enough for me. If I learn the Psychedelic 7 Kill Sword, I'll just chew too much." Yang Xueqi also nodded. Only Yang Wu and Yang Yuntian were left. Seeing that the siblings had expressed their opinions, Yang Yuntian said, "I haven't reached the 8th level of the Dragon Vein Realm, and my Dragon Seal is only a dabbler, not to mention the Psychedelic 7 Kill Sword." Yang Wu also said, "I'm similar to second uncle. Let's talk about it after I learn the profound Dragon Seal." At this time, Long Chen suggested, "The only ones who haven't learned the Dragon Seal are Ling Yu and Ling Qing, and they're both at the 6th level of the Dragon Vein Realm. Let's give this Psychedelic 7 Kill Sword to them first. Let's see who succeeds in cultivating it first, and then give the Phantom Glass Sword to her. What do you think?" Everyone in the Yang family knew that Long Chen and Yang Ling Qing had a good relationship, but Long Chen didn't favor Yang Ling Qing. Instead, he decided to let their talents decide who the Phantom Glass Sword belonged to. It could be considered a fair competition. The Yang family's ancestor nodded and said, "Then it's decided. As for the Spirit Jade and Divine Jade, I'll keep them first. Since Chen has done a good job, I'll give him a piece of Divine Jade first." No one had any objections to this. Long Chen had never seen a piece of Divine Jade before, so he didn't refuse. He took the piece of Divine Jade from the Yang family's ancestor. Immediately, a thick wave of heaven and earth spiritual qi washed over him. Just a light breath was enough to make Long Chen feel comfortable. The Yang family's ancestor smiled and said to everyone, "Now that the Yang family has become the town lord's mansion, Qingxian and Yuntian will follow me to deal with some trivial matters. The rest of you can go back." Yang Xueqi and Yang Wu nodded and were about to leave when Long Chen suddenly said, "Wait." Everyone looked at him in confusion. Long Chen took a deep breath and said, "Grandfather, do you know what the evolution fruit is?" Hearing the name, the Yang family's ancestor trembled and said excitedly, "Do you know the whereabouts of the evolution fruit? 1,000 flowers per day, 300 VIP guests, 300 mobile phone PK 300. On top of 3 chapters. Add 1 more chapter. Keep your word. Stamp the biggest stamp and add 3 chapters. Daily limit of 6 chapters. 20,000 words." Chapter 47. Long Chen finally told everyone about the evolution fruit tree. The Yang family ancestor was surprised at first, but when he heard that the Bai family already knew about it, he frowned. Long Chen didn't tell them about the Red Blood Holy Sect because he didn't want the Yang family to panic. In the end, the Yang clan's ancestor sighed and said, "So Bai Sheng wants to destroy my Yang clan because of this god evolution fruit. No wonder people die for wealth, and birds die for food. This has been the case since ancient times." After that, his face turned cold and he said, "The Bai family and our Yang family have a deep grudge against each other. If we let them get the evolution god fruit and let Bai Shang break through to the mortal core realm, then our Yang family will definitely be wiped out. Therefore, I, Yang Tsongqiong, will definitely fight with him for this evolution fruit." Yang Qingxian nodded and said, "There are 3 evolution fruits in total. As long as the Bai family gets one, the Yang family will have no place in this town anymore. Looks like this battle is unavoidable. The Bai family has 2 9th-level Dragon Vein warriors and 2 8th-level Dragon Vein warriors, but the Yang family..." Everyone looked at Long Chen. The Yang family ancestor asked nervously, "Long Chen, what's your cultivation level now?" The Yang family was already stronger than the Bai family, but no one expected Bai Li to appear. Long Chen was the biggest variable in the Yang family, so they were very concerned about Long Chen's strength. Long Chen thought about it and said, "Grandpa, if we really fight, you can deal with Bai Shang. I'll deal with the others." Long Chen meant that he could deal with Bai Li now. The Yang family ancestor let out a sigh of relief and said, "So, we're evenly matched. But there are many variables in this battle. We need to prepare for it. If the Bai family isn't eliminated, I won't be able to eat or sleep in peace. If someone from the Red Blood Holy Sect came, then it wouldn't be evenly matched, it would be a one-sided battle." Long Chen looked at the old man's wrinkled face and couldn't bear to tell him this. "Fine. I'll work a little harder. If something really happens, I'll pay with my life. I won't let the Yang family suffer any casualties." Long Chen was lying on his bed. "Hey, you're still thinking about the Empyrean fruit?" Lingxi flew out from the Lingxi sword and looked at Long Chen curiously. "There's nothing to think about. I've already reached the 7th layer of the Dragon Vein realm. After transforming, I'll have a powerful qi that's 10 times stronger than before. I'm naturally not afraid of Bai Li, but if the Scarlet Blood Holy Church sends a 9th layer Dragon Vein realm expert, our Yang family will be in danger." Lingxi stood on his chest and looked at Long Chen for a while before helplessly saying, "You brat, you used to hate your mother so much, but now you're willing to risk your life for her. What a strange brat. I've already told you that there's no mother in this world that doesn't love her child. You're just thinking the wrong way." Long Chen suddenly sat up on the bed and said to Lingxi, "Go back, I'm going out." Lingxi finally came out with great difficulty and immediately pouted. "Why aren't you obediently cultivating? Why are you going out?" Long Chen ignored her and walked out of the room. Lingxi angrily looked at Long Chen and could only helplessly return to the Lingxi sword. "Little Shi, how long can the Dream Lingxi's medicinal power last?" Hearing Long Chen's sudden question, Lingxi bitterly said, "I don't know, about 10 days or so." Long Chen nodded. With his current strength, even without the Dragon Soul transformation, he was an invincible existence in the 7th level of the Dragon Vein realm. After leaving the Yang clan, he immediately headed in the direction of the Bai clan. Lingxi suddenly became anxious. "Hey, why are you going to the Bai clan at this time? What does a vulgar girl like you know about this daddy's business?" Lingxi was immediately angered and couldn't be bothered with him anymore. Soon, he arrived at the Bai clan. Long Chen hid in a hidden corner and said, "Little Shi, I'll go in later. If the Bai clan has an 8th-level Dragon Vein realm expert approaching, warn me." "No, you'd rather die." After coaxing for a long time, this little princess finally changed her mind and agreed to help. In truth, Long Chen regretted it a million times in his heart. He decided that next time, he definitely wouldn't be so talkative to Lingxi. Sneaking into the Bai clan, Long Chen moved cautiously. Lingxi finally couldn't help but ask curiously, "Hey, what are you looking for?" Bai Sherdong. Lingxi thought of that weirdo who peed twice in a row. Thinking of him, Lingxi found it funny, but she also didn't know why Long Chen was looking for him. After a while, Lingxi suddenly said, "I found him, he's sleeping alone in that room." It was almost afternoon, but Bai Sherdong was still sleeping. Long Chen really admired him from the bottom of his heart. Following Lingxi's guidance, he entered the room. Sure enough, Bai Sherdong was sleeping soundly. His pillow was half covered in saliva, and his quilt was kicked to the ground. Without saying a word, Long Chen grabbed him by the neck and violently shook him a few times before he woke up. When Bai Sherdong opened his hazy eyes, he suddenly saw the nightmarish Long Chen strangling him. He was immediately scared out of his wits. He wanted to scream, but Long Chen was holding his neck, so he couldn't make a sound. "Don't move, don't make a sound, or you'll die." Bai Sherdong shuddered and finally came to his senses. He no longer dared to move. He looked at Long Chen with tears welling up in his eyes. Seeing his disappointing appearance, Long Chen suddenly said angrily, "I'll cry your mother. I'll ask you one thing, if you answer obediently, I won't take your life. If you dare to play games with me, Bai Sherdong and the others will be your role models." Thinking of Bai Sherdong and the others' miserable appearance, Bai Sherdong suddenly had a miserable expression. Long Chen knew that this kid didn't have a backbone, so he was too lazy to talk nonsense, so he directly said, "Tell me, how did you get your dream Lingxi?" When these three words dream Lingxi came out, Lingxi finally understood Long Chen's purpose. Thinking that he actually risked his life to enter the Bai clan for her, Lingxi was extremely touched. "Bad guy, why didn't you say it earlier? If you did, I wouldn't be angry with you." Lingxi's heart was filled with sweetness. When Long Chen asked, Bai Sherdong immediately said, I'll talk. It was sold to me by the Liang clan's patriarch. You should know Liang Cheng, right?" Liang Cheng? Long Chen had some impression of him. He was the patriarch of a small clan in Baiyang town, and his cultivation had reached the 7th level of the Dragon Vein realm. Now that he knew the result he wanted, Long Chen prepared to leave the Bai clan. However, if Bai Sherdong called for help the moment he left, it would definitely be troublesome. Thus, knocking Bai Sherdong unconscious was the right thing to do. After Bai Sherdong finished speaking, he thought that Long Chen wouldn't touch him. However, when he saw the ominous glint in Long Chen's eyes, he was instantly scared out of his wits. At this time, Long Chen had already knocked him out with a single punch. Just as he was about to turn around and leave, a sudden stench of urine assaulted his nose. Long Chen immediately wanted to prostrate himself in front of this guy. "I've met you a total of 3 times, and you've only given me urine 3 times. Such a precious gift. I'm really flattered." Inside Lingxi's sword, Lingxi couldn't stop giggling when she saw this scene. Very quickly, Long Chen left the Bai clan and headed towards the Liang clan. The Liang clan was located in a corner of Baiyang town, and it took Long Chen a long time to reach it. The patriarch of the Liang clan, Liang Cheng, was a tall man. When Long Chen killed Bai Zhanxiong, he was actually at the scene and was deeply shocked by Long Chen's strength. Seeing that Long Chen was looking for him, Liang Cheng immediately felt a little frightened. He invited Long Chen into the clan and warmly welcomed him with wine. Long Chen went straight to the point and said, "Patriarch Liang, the main reason I'm looking for you is because of the dream Lingxi. I heard that Bai Sherdong bought a dream Lingxi from you. I wonder if Patriarch Liang has any more? In terms of price, I will definitely not mistreat Patriarch Liang." When Long Chen mentioned the dream Lingxi, Patriarch Liang revealed a bitter expression and said, "I'm really sorry, I've only obtained 1 dream Lingxi in my life, and I sold it to Bai Sherdong. If you want other dream Lingxi, I really have no way of obtaining it." Long Chen wasn't someone who would give up easily. He continued, "May I know where Patriarch Liang obtained the dream Lingxi from?" Seeing that Long Chen seemed to really need the dream Lingxi, and that the Yang clan was the biggest clan in Baiyang town, Patriarch Liang naturally wanted to establish a relationship with such a large clan. Thus, he said, "In the Desolate Beast domain, I can draw you a rough map of the place where I obtained the dream Lingxi. However, young Master Chen, the Desolate Beast domain is extremely dangerous." Long Chen interrupted him, "Just draw it for me, I will definitely reward you greatly in the future." Patriarch Liang nodded and let his second brother entertain Long Chen, while he went to prepare a simple map. 15 minutes later, Long Chen walked out of the Liang clan village with the map in hand and headed towards the Yang clan. Hey, there's only a few days left until the Empyrean fruit ripens. This is the time when the Yang clan needs you. Are you still going to the Desolate Beast domain to find the Dream Lingji for me? There's still around 8 days before the Empyrean fruit ripens. I want to take advantage of this opportunity to get you some soul-nurturing medicine. I don't know what might happen during the fight for the Empyrean fruit. If I die, you'll still have medicine to hold on a little longer. I think there's still hope for you to survive. Seeing that Long Chen was so considerate of her, Lingxi choked up as she thought about it. Although there were no tears, she still cried to her heart's content. Long Chen broke out in a cold sweat and said, "Little girl, why are you crying? I only said that I might die, not that I'm really going to die." Returning to the Yang clan was mainly to bid farewell to the Yang clan and the others. However, Yang Xueqi wasn't in the residence, and the Yang clan's ancestor had also gone to the town lord's mansion. Only then did Long Chen find Yang Lingqing. This girl was earnestly practicing the psychedelic 7 slaughter swordplay. Long Chen's arrival gave her a fright. "What are you looking at? You're hiding it all. It can't be some kind of erotic painting, right?" Long Chen looked at Yang Lingqing with a smile that wasn't a smile. Yang Lingqing's expression immediately darkened. She took out the psychedelic 7 slaughter swordplay and said, "Take a look and see if this is an erotic painting. What kind of big brother is this? You're always talking nonsense." Long Chen flipped through it casually and remembered that Ling Qing was currently competing with Yang Lingyue for the phantom glass sword. He was just about to give her some guidance when Yang Lingqing snatched the secret manual away. "Don't even think about giving me pointers. This time, I'm competing fairly with Sister Lingyue. If you help me, it won't be glorious even if I win, and it won't prove that I'm more suitable for the phantom glass sword than she is." Looking at this girl's stubborn temper, Long Chen suddenly felt that there was a part of her that was very similar to his. "If you don't want to teach me, then don't. I'm too lazy to teach you anyway." "Right, Ling Qing. I'll be going out for a few days. When Grandpa and the others are done, remember to tell them that I'll definitely be back before the important moment." Yang Lingqing looked at him suspiciously and asked, "What is an important moment? Where are you going? You sound so mysterious. Don't tell me you're going to the Jadeite Pavilion?" Chapter 48. This was Long Chen's first time entering the Desolate Beast region from the Great Desolate Mountain. As for the last time, because Lingxi was flying around randomly, he didn't know where she came from. The last time he entered the Desolate Beast region, Long Chen could only deal with a 4th-layer Dragon Vein Realm cultivator. But now, his strength had skyrocketed. If he transformed, he could basically catch up to a 9th-layer Dragon Vein Realm. With this kind of strength, as long as he didn't encounter a freakish demonic beast like the moon-devouring direwolf, Long Chen wouldn't be in danger. In the Great Desolate Mountain, the strongest demonic beast was at most 8th-layer yellow rank. However, the Desolate Beast region was different. Naturally, the deeper one went, the stronger the demonic beast would be. However, it didn't eliminate the possibility of powerful demonic beasts wandering outside. For example, the moon-devouring direwolf from last time definitely didn't belong to that depth. Thus, even with this strength, Long Chen was still very cautious. The depths of the Desolate Beast region were filled with white mist. As far as the eye could see, there were grayish-brown mountains and strange withered trees. A desolate aura assaulted the senses. There was also the smell of blood in the air. Bones of unknown beasts could be seen everywhere. After a long time, they would turn to dust with just a gentle touch. Lingxi was a little afraid entering this place again. She was originally on Long Chen's shoulder, but seeing such a desolate scene, she hurriedly returned to Lingxi's sword. According to the map, the Dream Lingji is in the outer region of the Desolate Beast region. It's much shallower than the last time we entered. That area is called the Sky-Burning Mountain Range. If we rush there now, it'll take at most half a day. After confirming their target and direction, and with Ling Shi, a fellow with keen senses, leading the way, they were able to avoid any powerful demonic beasts and charge straight towards the weaker ones. So basically, their journey could be considered to be a smooth one. Half a day slowly passed. Although the Sky-Burning Mountain Range is in the outer region of the Desolate Beast region, it's still very large. I wonder if there's any Dream Lingji there. Looks like we have to search carefully. If there's none, let's go back first. The Empyrean fruit. Lingxi said worriedly. Fuck, you're saying that you don't have any before you even look for it. You really have no ambition. Although the sky in the desolate beast region was always dark, there was still a difference between day and night. Generally speaking, night was more dangerous due to visibility issues. Long Chen could already see a stretch of pitch-black mountains in the distance. However, the sky was already dark, and it was no longer suitable for them to advance any further. Forget it. Even if there's a dream Lingxi, it'll be hard to find it at night. We'll look for it tomorrow morning. Lingxi used her spirit to sense her surroundings. Actually, this would also consume her soul energy. She was also very tired, so when Long Chen said that she could rest, she heaved a sigh of relief. The desolate beast region is filled with demonic beast lairs. I need to find a lair and kill the demonic beast. That way, I'll be safer. After making up his mind, Long Chen started searching around. This place was surrounded by mountains, so this kind of cave was very easy to find. Long Chen killed a few yellow rank level 5 and 6 demonic beasts and cleaned up for a while before starting a fire and preparing to roast some meat. At this time, Lingxi had already fallen into a deep sleep. As soon as the fire was lit, a rustling sound came from outside. Long Chen immediately stood up. At this moment, 2 robust men had entered the cave. When they saw that the person inside was actually such a young man, they were immediately startled. One of them was a tall and muscular man wearing beast skin. He smiled evilly and said with faint mockery, "Such a young brat actually dared to come to the desolate beast region. You're quite bold." The other was a skinny scholar. He examined Long Chen for a while, then smiled to the person beside him. "I can see that he's already at the 7th layer of the Dragon Vein realm. If he wasn't so reckless, he might have grown into a powerful figure in the future. What a pity." The 2 of them no longer looked at Long Chen, as if he was air. They walked into the cave by themselves, then sat down next to the fire that Long Chen had started. Long Chen discreetly sized up the 2 of them and pretended to be frightened. The 2 of them must have discovered that Long Chen was here, so they came in to see if Long Chen's strength would be a threat. However, when they saw that Long Chen was at most at the 7th layer of the Dragon Vein realm, they were completely relieved and decided to stay in the cave. The 2 of them are only at the 8th layer of the Dragon Vein realm, so they're no match for me. However, they clearly come to the desolate beast region often, so they should be very familiar with this area. I can ask them about Meng Lingji. These 2 aren't by Sherdong, so I might not be able to make them compromise with violence. Since they're looking down on me now, I can just pretend to be a grandson. Thinking of this, Long Chen hurriedly pretended to be a grandson and moved his buttocks to the 2 of them. He said in a flattering manner, "Little brother Long Chen greets the 2 big brothers. The 2 of you have profound strength, and this little brother greatly admires you. It is fate that brought us together. It is my great honor to be able to meet the 2 of you in the desolate beast region. May I know how I should address the 2 of you?" The 2 of them originally thought that Long Chen was the kind of arrogant young master who would consider everyone else beneath him after some small achievements. However, they didn't expect that Long Chen was actually like a servant. As the saying goes, don't slap a smiling person. If Long Chen was angry at them for invading the cave, they could have easily killed Long Chen. However, Long Chen greeted them with a smile, so they didn't know what to do. The 2 of them looked at the reverence in Long Chen's eyes and looked at each other. The tall and sturdy man then said indifferently, "I am Chen Xiongzhou, this is Feng Mingyang. We come from Yuanling City." They were actually people from Yuanling City. Long Chen had always held reverence for Yuanling City. This way, he could ask around and find out what kind of existence Yuanling City was. So it's Big Brother Chen and Big Brother Feng. Looking at the 2 of you, you must have been in the desolate beast region for a long time. To be able to survive in this dangerous place for so long, this little brother sincerely admires you. This little brother has liked to go on adventures since I was young. This time, I boldly came to the desolate beast region, but I didn't expect the desolate beast region to be filled with danger. If I hadn't met the 2 of you, I really don't know how I would have passed tonight. Long Chen's voice and expression were very sincere. Adding on a vulgar flattery, the 2 of them immediately enjoyed it greatly. Their disdainful gazes toward Long Chen softened a little. It's not that Big Brother Chen wants to criticize you, but with your age and strength, coming to the desolate beast region is purely courting death. Feng Mingyang waited for Long Chen to finish speaking, then stroked his long beard and used the tone of an elder to rebuke Long Chen. This brat is quite clever, but he's not clever enough to survive in this world. If he hadn't met the two of us this time, if someone else came and saw a child like you rushing here, they would have definitely stolen your money and taken your life." Long Chen hurriedly nodded his head in agreement. He repeatedly scolded himself for being brainless. If he hadn't met these two kind big brothers, he would have definitely thrown his corpse into the wilderness and so on. Long Chen was clear in his heart that these two clearly came to kill him. If it wasn't for his quick reaction, perhaps the two of them would have directly attacked him. Following that, Long Chen continuously flattered. Roughly an hour later, the two of them were already completely comfortable from his flattery. They only felt that this little brother of Long Chen was really sensible and knew the big picture. "All right, brother Long Chen. Did you stop here to enter the heaven-burning mountain range?" Long Chen nodded, indeed. Feng Mingyang nodded. "I didn't think that you would also notice that something was wrong with the heaven-burning mountain range. Brother Chen and I have been observing outside the heaven-burning mountain range for the past few days. The temperature of the heaven-burning mountain range has suddenly risen to such a high level. It is indeed a bit strange. We don't dare to rashly enter, but a 7th-layer dragon vein cultivator like you dares to come investigate? Aren't you a bit too bold?" Long Chen was startled. After a long while, he smiled bitterly. "I won't hide it from the two of you. When I came to the heaven-burning mountain range, I didn't discover anything strange. I'm actually looking for Dream Lingji. I wonder if the two of you know of any Dream Lingji in the heaven-burning mountain range?" Hearing that Long Chen actually didn't know of the changes in the heaven-burning mountain range, yet the two of them revealed this information to Long Chen, they immediately felt a bit depressed. However, when they thought about how Long Chen was only at 7th-layer dragon vein stage, even if there were any treasures in the heaven-burning mountain range, Long Chen wouldn't be able to obtain them, they felt a bit better. The two of them clearly came to the heaven-burning mountain range to search for treasures. Seeing an outsider like me here, they naturally feared me and wanted to kill me. Long Chen's goal was the Dream Lingji, so he didn't want to complicate matters. He hurriedly stated his goal. Hearing the 3 words Dream Lingji, Feng Mingyang nodded. "The heaven-burning mountain range is indeed rich in Dream Lingji. We've also gone in to pick them before, so we roughly know where they are." Long Chen was instantly overjoyed. He didn't think that pretending to be a grandson would really work. He hurriedly said, "I wonder if the 2 big brothers can bring me in to search for it?" The two of them looked at each other. Currently, only the two of them knew about the abnormalities in the heaven-burning mountain range. When they first came in, they actually wanted to kill Long Chen to prevent any accidents from happening. However, seeing how young Long Chen was, they guessed that he had a strong background, so they didn't dare to make the first move. Then, hearing that Long Chen wasn't concerned about the abnormalities in the heaven-burning mountain range, and that Long Chen felt very comfortable flattering them, they said, "Fine, we originally wanted to go in to investigate tomorrow, so there's no harm in bringing you along. However, the heaven-burning mountain range is filled with dangers. If you find the Dream Lingji, you should return early, so that you don't lose your life here." Hearing this half-warning, Long Chen pretended not to hear the underlying meaning, and said gratefully, "Thank you, big brothers. If I can obtain the Dream Lingji, I will definitely repay the two of you well." He was actually very clear what these two were thinking. After working for 16 years, he could be considered a cunning fellow. "Big brothers come from Yuanling City. Can you tell me about the Lingwu family?" Long Chen suddenly asked. Feng Mingyang saw that there was still a long time before daybreak, and it was rather idle in the meantime, so he said, "Could it be that you also want to enter the Lingwu family? With your age and strength, in a few years, you should be able to reach the 9th level of the Dragon Vein realm." "Big brothers, do you want to enter the Lingwu family?" Chen Xiongzhou nodded, but sighed, and said, "To enter the Lingwu family, one must pass a test, and one of the requirements of this test is that one must not be older than 30, and their strength must be above the 9th level of the Dragon Vein realm. Both of us are close to 30, and this is our last chance. If we do not reach the 9th level of the Dragon Vein realm, we will no longer be qualified to enter the Lingwu family." Long Chen was secretly shocked. In Baiyang Town, the 9th level of the Dragon Vein realm was already a super expert, but in the Lingwu family, even entering the Lingwu family required one to be at the 9th level of the Dragon Vein realm, and the age requirement was below 30. The difference was really not small. Seeing Long Chen's shocked expression, Chen Xiongzhou said, "I guess you have not been to Yuanling City, right? You definitely cannot imagine how big Yuanling City is. It is like a small country. With the center of the city as the core, The area within a radius of 500 li is Yuanling City. From the east to the west of the city, it is about 1,000 li. There are two big cities in Yuanling City, and both of them are 1/5 the size of Yuanling City. One of them is Lingwu City, where the Lingwu family is located. There are more than 20,000 registered clansmen in the Lingwu family, and all of them are above the 9th level of the Dragon Vein realm. They are divided into the inner clan and the outer clan. After passing the Lingwu family's test, we can only become outer clan members, and the true experts of the Lingwu family are all the inner clan members who have their own bloodline inheritance for thousands of years. In fact, the inner clan is the real Lingwu family. When we join Lingwu City, we are actually just hired thugs, but even so, it is already very glorious. Speaking of the Lingwu family, both of them looked forward to it very much. And Long Chen was also deeply shocked. 20,000 people. All above the 9th level of the Dragon Vein realm? I didn't expect the Lingwu family to be so big. Yuanling City is just one of the cities in Songyang Kingdom, but it is already so big. Then how big is the Myriad Kingdoms domain that Dad and Lingxi talked about, and the Dragon Sacrificial Continent? This vast world immediately made Long Chen feel a sense of helplessness. Suddenly, he remembered that Xiao Lang was also in the Lingwu family. I wonder if Xiao Lang is an inner clan member of the Lingwu family, or an outer clan member. With Xiao Lang's talent, he should be an inner clan member. At this moment, Chen Xiongzhou said in a low voice, "Only by becoming an outer clan member of the Lingwu family will my clan receive the protection of the Lingwu family. This is not the protection of the Town Lord Mansion, but a real expert will be sent to clean up all my possible enemies. If I perform well, I will definitely soar to the sky." This sentence, Long Chen silently remembered. At this moment, the feeling of helplessness in his heart had already disappeared. Thinking that he still had the dragon jade and the mysterious inheritance blood essence, he was filled with confidence. That blood essence, if it is really the ancient blood spirit dragon, then what do I have to be afraid of? You should know that it is one of the 10 ancient ancestral dragons. Chapter 49. Brother Long Chen, although we know roughly where the Dream Lingji can be found, the Desolate Beast region is vast and boundless, and the Burning Sky Mountain range is not small either. Even in that region, we might not be able to find the Dream Lingji immediately. Feng Mingyang suddenly turned his head and said to Long Chen while walking in front. At this moment, the burly Chen Xiongzhou also turned his head and said, "However, we were just about to investigate the Burning Sky Mountain range, so we might as well help you take a look. There are countless dangers in the Burning Sky Mountain range. It's too dangerous for you to search by yourself. It's better to follow us." Long Chen hurriedly nodded and said, "Big brothers, your strength is extraordinary. It is my honor to enter the Burning Sky Mountain range with you too." Actually, Long Chen knew what they were planning. They didn't want to kill Long Chen, but if Long Chen searched by himself, he might be able to find whatever appeared in the Burning Sky Mountain range because of his dog's hit luck. That's why they wanted Long Chen to follow them so they could quickly find the Dream Lingji and send Long Chen away. "Long Chen, these two fellows seem to be very nice to you." Lingxi couldn't tell what was going on, so she said excitedly. After all, Long Chen was helping her find medicine to nurture her soul. "Silly woman, what do you know?" Long Chen cursed in his heart. Then, he followed the two of them and stepped onto the Burning Sky Mountain range that seemed to be burnt to a crisp. The rocks and soil of the Burning Sky Mountain range were completely black, and as hard as iron. Long Chen was extremely shocked that the Dream Lingji could actually grow in such a place. As he approached the Burning Sky Mountain range from afar, Long Chen felt that the temperature was indeed very high. When he stepped onto the Burning Sky Mountain range, he discovered that it was already several times hotter than the summer in Baiyang Town. If an ordinary person came here, they would definitely not be able to last long before kicking the bucket. According to our memories, the Dream Lingji should be in that direction. Let's go there first. The three of them carefully advanced through the Burning Sky Mountain range. Although Chen Xiongzhou and Feng Mingyang said that they were looking for the Dream Lingji, most of their attention was on the strange situation in the Burning Sky Mountain range. At this moment, Feng Mingyang was holding up some black soil and sniffing it. He frowned and said, "There is actually a burnt smell in this soil. Although the Burning Sky Mountain range is known as the Burning Sky, there is no fire. Where is this burnt smell coming from?" When Chen Xiongzhou heard this, he was also very confused. However, the the two of them still couldn't figure out anything and could only continue moving forward. To them, it was more important to get rid of the burden, Long Chen. Long Chen was also hoping that they could quickly finish him off. After all, he had to rush back to Baiyang town after obtaining the dream Lingji. After about half a day, they met a 7th-grade yellow-ranked demonic beast on the way. However, it was easily dealt with by Chen Xiongzhou. Seeing him attack, Long Chen felt that as expected, a person who came from a big place definitely didn't have a simple background. This Chen Xiongzhou also used a high-grade yellow-rank battle skill. It was very powerful. In the past, many people obtained the dream Lingji in this area. Let's search here. Everyone should try to be within the vision of the other two people. That way, if there is danger, we can help each other. Long Chen, you're young and lack battle experience. You don't know the dangers of the desolate beast region. If there is any danger, just shout loudly. Feng Mingyang once again explained to Long Chen. Only then did the three of them start searching in this area. However, it could be seen that the two of them were actually exploring the Burning Sky mountain range. The dream Lingji was his own matter. Long Chen didn't have any hopes for them. Hurry up. Hurry up. I want to eat a lot of dream Lingji. Lingxi kept on rushing him. As long as it was a treasure, it was usually very rare. Obtaining it usually depended on one's luck. Although there was indeed a dream Lingji here, one could imagine the difficulty of searching for it. Long Chen was deliberately searching for it. Although they tried very hard and the three of them kept pushing deeper into the mountain range, for days gradually passed without any results. At this time, Long Chen's eyes were filled with anxiety. If they still couldn't find it in half a day, he would have to rush back. The fight for the evolution fruit was very important to the Yang clan. Moreover, Long Chen was the main fighting force of the Yang clan. Without him, the Yang clan would definitely suffer a crushing defeat. At this time, he should be guarding the Yang clan. Coming out to search for the dream Lingji for Lingxi was already considered a risk. Now that 5 days had passed, it would take another day to return to Baiyang town. It was about time for the evolution fruit to ripen. Seeing that Long Chen couldn't be found, Lingxi could only comfort him. Hey, I'm really not afraid of death. Anyway, it's about time. I'm already very happy to be able to live for so long. Long Chen didn't answer her and continued to search between the charred mountains. Lingxi's perception was very strong. If there was any dream Lingji, she would definitely be the first to discover it. On the other side, Chen Xiongzhou and Feng Mingyang looked at the youth in the distance. Feng Mingyang said, "It's been so long. I originally thought that I could easily find the dream Lingji and send him away. I didn't expect it to be like this." Chen Xiongzhou looked at the charred land and said, "These few days, the temperature in the incineration mountain range is getting higher and higher. I have a feeling in my heart that some time is coming. It should be the appearance of the treasure. But this Long Chen is still here. I'm afraid that something might happen." Seeing the fierce look in the other party's eyes, Feng Mingyang probed, "Why don't we just erase it? That way we can be more at ease. I have a feeling that this Long Chen has an element that makes people afraid." Chen Xiongzhou looked at Long Chen's figure, and a fierce look gradually appeared in his eyes. Finally, he nodded and said, "Do you want to do it or should I?" Feng Mingyang was about to say that he would do it, but he didn't expect that at this time, he would see some flickering misty purple light in the distance. He instantly smacked his lips and said, "Forget it, I saw the dream Lingji. Let's send him away." The two of them quickly headed in that direction. Indeed, there was a stalk of dream Lingji growing in a narrow crevice under a mountain rock. Long Chen, Long Chen, I didn't expect this dream Lingji to save your life." As Long Chen was searching, Lingxi suddenly smelled the dream Lingji. Long Chen looked excitedly in the direction she was pointing. He didn't expect it to be Chen Feng and Feng Mingyang walking over with a dream Lingji. Feng Mingyang said, "Little brother Long Chen, I finally found a dream Lingji. Since you need it so much, brother will give it to you. In the future, come to Yuanling City to drink with brother." Long Chen took the dream Lingji. Although he didn't really like the two of them, he still thanked them. "Thank you, Big Brother Chen and Big Brother Feng. Long Chen will definitely thank you in the future." Chen Xiongzhou waved his hand and said, "There is no need. However, does little brother Long Chen know the way out of the Burning Heaven mountain range?" His words were clearly meant to chase people away. Long Chen naturally understood. Although he still had a bit of time to find more dream Lingji, Chen Feng and Feng Mingyang clearly wouldn't allow it. So he said gratefully, "Of course I know. I have urgent matters at home. After obtaining this dream Lingji, I must return as soon as possible. Brothers, if fate wills it, we will meet again." Saying this, he put away the dream Lingji and bid farewell to Chen Xiongzhou and Feng Mingyang. "I can't be bothered to bicker with you because you gave me this dream Lingji. But the Burning Heaven mountain range is so big, I can search for it myself. If it was just one dream Lingji, it wouldn't be enough for Lingxi to live for long. In order to let this little last Lingxi live well in the future, Long Chen naturally needed as many dream Lingji as possible. On the way, Long Chen directly let Lingxi refine the dream Lingji. Very quickly, a dream Lingji entered Lingxi's stomach. Lingxi came out of the sword and looked at Long Chen pitifully. She said faintly, I want more." Suddenly hearing such ridiculous words and looking at Lingxi's peerless beauty, Long Chen had many evil thoughts. However, when he thought about how Lingxi was only 2 centimeters, "Let's search for another half a day. If there is no more, we can only return." Okay. In order to avoid meeting Chen Xiongzhou and Feng Mingyang, Long Chen changed directions. However, he was constantly paying attention to his feet. The more we walk in this direction, the higher the temperature of the soil. In the past few days, the two of them had been exploring the Burning Sky mountain range. Long Chen had long known about it, but his mind had been on the dream Lingji. At this moment, he suddenly realized that he seemed to be walking in the right direction, so he continued walking. Hey, wait a moment. Lingxi was originally flying with him, but now Lingxi blocked his face and said mysteriously, "There's a little thing over there. Let's go take a look carefully. Listen to my instructions." Whatever Lingxi sensed was usually good stuff. Just like the mountain demon ginseng, it had been of great help to Long Chen. Long Chen held his breath and quietly approached the direction Lingxi had mentioned. At this time, Lingxi had already returned to the sword. Her soft but excited voice traveled over. "I think it's a purple spirit fantasy beast. It's a level 1 yellow class demon, but it's good at illusions. Its soul power is stronger than all yellow class demons. Such a strong soul power is usually nurtured by spiritual medicine. So, this purple spirit illusory beast can bring us to a place that has medicine to nurture the divine soul?" Under Lingxi's guidance, Long Chen quickly saw the full appearance of the purple spirit fantasy beast. It was a light purple rat the size of a kitten. The rat's entire body emitted a misty cold light, as if it was wrapped up in a cloud of mist, making it hard for people to see its true appearance. However, its light purple eyes darted around, looking extremely cute. Scare it away. Follow it from afar and let it run home. That way they might be able to find the location of some spiritual medicine. Although Lingxi was usually muddle-headed, at least she still had some brains. Long Chen moved forward a little more, and the purple spirit fantasy beast discovered him. On the surface of Long Chen's body, it suddenly let out a shrill howl, and then the mist around it exploded, turning into a fiendish devouring moon demon wolf. Begging for flowers. Breaking news. Today, 100 VIP updates. PK 100 updates. Only this day. I've been waiting for you. Only one chance. Chapter 50. Insignificant tricks, and you dare to disgrace yourself in front of this lady. Long Chen, this is fake. If not for Lingxi, Long Chen would have been frightened by this sudden change. After all, the shadow of the devouring moon demonic wolf in his heart was too big. But now, he knew that this little thing was a purple spirit, so even if it was a devouring moon demonic wolf in front of him, he would still rush over. When the purple spirit saw that Long Chen was not even afraid of the devouring moon demonic wolf, it immediately ran away with its tail between its legs. After running for a while, it revealed its original form. Its plump buttocks ran in front of Long Chen. If not for Lingxi telling Long Chen to follow far away, he could have caught up in a breath's time and sent the purple spirit flying with a kick. With the purple spirit leading the way, after about a quarter of an hour, Lingxi said excitedly, Long Chen, I can already feel it. What a strong smell. At least there is a lot of dream Lingxi." Lingxi was filled with excitement, and Long Chen was naturally happy for her as well. However, he had another worry in his heart, and that was that the deeper he went, the higher the surrounding temperature was. The black soil on the ground was already faintly emitting red sparks. What is going on with this incineration mountain range? As he chased after the purple spirit illusionary beast, Long Chen observed his surroundings. This pitch-black mountain range seemed to be slowly changing color. Forget it. I just want to get the dream Lingji. The changes in the incineration mountain range have nothing to do with me. At this time, Lingxi suddenly let out a cry of surprise. Long Chen immediately looked up. In his field of vision there was a small basin in front of him. This basin seemed to be a huge crater created by a meteorite. At this moment, the purple spirit mythical beast had directly rushed into this huge crater. And most importantly, in the deepest part of this large basin, a medicinal fragrance assaulted his nostrils. Long Chen was almost knocked over by this medicinal fragrance. Looking closely, it turned out that the depths of the large basin were filled with dream Lingji. It was like a purple ocean. Looking at the situation, there were probably about 100 of them. Long Chen was muddled by it, let alone Lingxi. I want it. Hurry, hurry. Go pick it for me. Seeing so many dream Lingji, Lingxi didn't know to what extent her soul strength would expand, so she was so excited that she couldn't even speak clearly. Long Chen only wanted a few more dream Lingji. He didn't expect there to be more than 100 of them here. This number was completely beyond what his heart could bear, so his movements were a little slower. When Lingxi anxiously reminded him, he rushed like a whirlwind towards the depths of the large basin. Long Chen had almost forgotten about the hundreds of dream Lingji mushrooms. At this moment, the temperature was so high that the air seemed to contain the glow of fire. In the area surrounded by all the dream Lingji mushrooms, a black metal plate the size of a palm was vibrating violently. Traces of fire were being emitted from the metal plate. In the process of rushing forward, Long Chen already felt that something was amiss. At this moment, he suddenly saw that in the center of all the dream Lingji, a ball of fire was about to ignite. It suddenly exploded, and a ball of raging flames burned fiercely, surging towards the surrounding dream Lingji. In an instant, the hundreds of dream Lingji were all engulfed by the flames. Lingxi was also frightened to the point that her face turned pale. She said anxiously, Long Chen, there is a very strange thing in the center of that flame. It is extremely destructive. Hurry, run. The dream Lingji was right in front of him. Although the flame had already engulfed them, there was no reason for Long Chen to turn and run since he had already chased them all the way here. He gritted his teeth and watched as the flame got bigger and bigger. It was about to engulf the dream Lingji completely. Long Chen roared and used his dragon soul transformation. In the process of running, blood-colored dragon scales gradually appeared on his body. In less than a breath's time, he had already completed his dragon soul transformation. His speed also increased tenfold in an instant. With a whoosh, he appeared where the dream Lingji was. However, in the next instant, the explosive flame had already engulfed him completely. Long Chen. Inside Lingxi's sword, Lingxi's face turned pale. As she spoke, Long Chen had already been engulfed by the flame. She was extremely nervous because she didn't know how strong the flame was. However, Long Chen's image had already been deeply engraved in her heart. She knew that Long Chen could have escaped from the beginning. However, he had disregarded the danger to his life and rushed into the flame to find the elixir that could prolong her life. He wasn't her relative, but he could sacrifice himself for her without any request. In fact, there had never been anyone who had sacrificed themselves for her. When she thought that Long Chen might be injured or even die, her heart convulsed and a deep sense of sorrow welled up in her heart. At this moment, she suddenly felt Long Chen move. Although the flame was fast, it was surging in all directions. When Long Chen rushed in, he had just bent over when the flame pounced on him. However, his dragon soul transformation saved him. Long Chen escaped the range of the flame quickly. When he finally rushed out, he realized that even though he had used his dragon soul transformation, his body was still aching. Fortunately, the dazzling red scale armor wasn't burnt. However, the monstrous flame behind him was still chasing after Long Chen at an extremely high speed. He had no choice but to run. In the process of running, he put the dream Lingji, which he had used his body and arms to protect, into his Chenkuan bag. Long Chen. When she saw Long Chen using his body to protect the 5 dream Lingji before escaping, Lingxi felt like crying again. This feeling of being cared for and loved made her feel very warm, even though she had lost her body. Hey, thank you so much. What are you thanking me for? If you become rich in the future, just pamper me properly. She had originally thought that this kid was actually very cute, but his words had exposed his rogue nature. At this time, the original fireball behind him was spreading in all directions. When Long Chen escaped from the huge pit, it had already spread into a sea of fire. Looking back, the raging flames were burning high, and it was like a plague, spreading wildly in all directions. Lingxi, I think I saw a metal plate just now. These flames seem to have erupted from that metal plate. What do you think that metal plate is? In the process of leaving, Long Chen had already put away the dream Lingxi. With these 5 dream Lingxi and Lingxi's current consumption rate, at least for a period of time, Long Chen wouldn't have to worry about Lingxi's survival. He could go and do other things with peace of mind. However, when he thought about those hundreds of dream Lingxi, Long Chen felt very indignant. If he had been a little faster, he might have been able to obtain even more. I also felt that there was a very strong yang energy there. At least, it was very strong for you. However, I didn't see it clearly in a hurry. Lingxi also thought of the huge amount of dream Lingxi and felt extremely regretful in her heart. If she had obtained so many dream Lingxi, her soul would probably have solidified to the state when her fleshly body was destroyed. Long Chen had already run quite a distance, so he could turn back and look at the sea of fire that was still spreading towards the entire Incineration Mountain range. At this moment, countless demonic beasts were escaping from the Incineration Mountain range. It was a miserable scene. I wonder what that metal plate is. It actually caused such a huge amount of flames. If this continues, I'm afraid that the entire Incineration Mountain range will be filled with flames. When that happens, the Incineration Mountain range will really burn to the sky. After turning back for a while, the flames were about to catch up. Long Chen had already obtained most of the dream Lingxi, and knew that he didn't need to stay in the Incineration Mountain range any longer. Hence, he prepared to leave. That metal plate is obviously a treasure. If I can control it, there might be countless benefits. However, the flames are too huge. They have already covered a radius of about 10 miles. If the flames continue to grow stronger, the entire Incineration Mountain range will be filled with flames. I won't be able to obtain the metal plate. It will only be a waste of time. When he thought of this, Long Chen gave up on the idea of obtaining the metal plate. He could have obtained a lot of dream Lingxi today, but the metal plate had coincidentally destroyed them. Hence, he naturally wouldn't be able to obtain the metal plate. Hence, he felt rather depressed. Just as he was about to leave, Lingxi suddenly shouted, "Look, the flames have already started to shrink." Long Chen turned back to take a look. Indeed, the originally soaring sea of flames actually seemed to be shrinking. At first, the entire sea of flames had expanded rapidly, but now, it was indeed shrinking rapidly. Anyway, there is still some time. Long Chen, why don't you go and take a look? Maybe you can find out what that metal plate is. Lingxi said what Long Chen was thinking. Now that the flames had actually subsided, and he had enough time to rush back to the Yang family, Long Chen wasn't in a hurry. He turned around and went back. The sea of flames gradually shrunk and was almost approaching the huge pit from before. Long Chen was also hiding and heading towards the place where he found the dream Lingxi. The expansion of the sea of flames only took about half an hour, and it also took about half an hour for it to shrink. Soon, Long Chen was almost back to his previous place. He was also a little excited. Quick! Hide! Those 2 big brothers are here too. At this time, Long Chen was still in the state of dragon soul transformation. He knew who Lingxi was talking about. How could Chen Xiongzhou and Feng Mingyang not notice such a change in the Incineration Mountain range just now? Moreover, they had originally come to the Incineration Mountain range to search for treasures. When the sea of flames appeared, they knew that there must be some kind of treasure. Long Chen didn't know whether the metal plate was still dangerous or not. Now that there were 2 people blocking in front of him, he was happy to experiment. If it was a real treasure, Long Chen wouldn't be polite and just take it from them. The flames gradually shrunk. Soon, Long Chen and the others arrived outside the huge pit. Although Long Chen discovered the 2 of them, the 2 of them didn't notice Long Chen. When the flames completely disappeared, the 2 of them immediately rushed towards the depths of the pit. Long Chen was just about to poke his head out to take a look. He didn't expect to see Chen Xiongzhou and Feng Mingyang fighting. The 2 of them were staring at each other with blood-red eyes, as though they wanted to kill each other. Long Chen was stunned. He recalled that the 2 of them had been calling each other brothers just a while ago. Is the charm of this treasure really that great? Bai Shang can plot against that old man, But these two brothers can also kill each other. New event. Fresh flowers list statistics. The total number of fresh flowers has exceeded 200. Add the group to poke the group owner. It's me. I'm online and add updates on the spot. Every time you add 200, you can apply once. Leave your name in the main text. This time, I'm adding a new chapter because of the child's words. Insulting my brother. The flowers are currently at 254. Wait for the others to reach 200. End of the event. Calculate again. Chapter 51. At this moment, the abnormality in the burning sky mountain range gradually disappeared. Long Chen could also feel that the scorching temperature under his feet was decreasing. As for the two people fighting, they should have seen that the iron plate was the source of the heaven-defying flames. Therefore, at this time they were fighting with bloodshot eyes. Chen Xiongzhou, you really don't want to live. I told you long ago that if you let me have it this time, I will not forget about you. Do you think I'm a fool? The first thing you'll do after getting the benefits is to kill me, right? How can this metal plate be simple if it can cause such a huge commotion? Good. Since you insist on dying, don't blame me for being ruthless. Baleful Edge Fist. Two experts at the 8th level of the Dragon Vein realm were currently displaying their trump cards and fighting to the death with each other. Seeing the sudden change in their expressions, Long Chen remembered what the Yang family's old ancestor had said. In this world where martial arts were respected, too much trust in brothers would pay the price one day. Of course, it would be different if you met someone who was truly hot-blooded. This battle was extremely tragic. Two Dragon Vein Stage 8 experts were actually slightly stronger than Bai Zhanxiong. Fortunately, there was basically nothing to destroy in the desolate beast region. Otherwise, the battlefield would have been a mess. The two of them were evenly matched in strength. In the end, it all depended on who had better reflexes. Feng Mingyang's body was much more agile than Chen Xiongzhou's, so in the end, Chen Xiongzhou was finally punched to death. At this moment, Feng Mingyang was also drenched in blood. Obviously, he had been seriously injured. But when he thought that he had finally defeated Chen Xiongzhou and could obtain the strange metal plate, his eyes instantly burned with passion. Chen Xiongzhou, I told you not to fight with me. You deserve to die now. But don't worry, after I obtain this mysterious metal plate, my cultivation will improve by leaps and bounds. I will also take care of your wife and children for you. Also, your wife is prettier than mine. He spat a few times at Chen Xiongzhou's corpse. He did not expect that there would be blood mixed in the spit. Feng Mingyang was stunned for a moment before glaring fiercely at Chen Xiongzhou. Then, he limped towards the mysterious metal plate. When he thought of the iron plate and how it had caused such a big commotion, he became more and more excited. That scumbag. Just a moment ago, they were still calling each other brothers. Now, not only did he kill the other party to snatch the treasure, he even has designs on the wife and child of the deceased. Long Chen. Seeing Feng Mingyang act in such a manner, Lingxi immediately felt indignant. The large eyes on her small body revealed a look of disgust. Seeing that Lingxi was commanding him to go forward, how could Long Chen not make a move? He had already transformed into a dragon soul, and his strength was much stronger than Feng Mingyang's. He was like a red whirlwind. He suddenly appeared in front of Feng Mingyang, and the black metal token was behind Long Chen. If Feng Mingyang wanted to get it, he had to go around Long Chen. Beast Warrior. Feng Mingyang's eyes suddenly exploded with shock. However, when he saw that Long Chen was actually standing in front of the metal plate that he had painstakingly obtained, a crazed look appeared in his eyes. Even though he was heavily injured, he still attacked crazily towards Long Chen. You still want to beat me like this? Long Chen smiled coldly. With this powerful dragon soul transformation, his speed had also received a huge boost. This speed made him even more agile. Feng Mingyang was only a few meters in front of him, so just as Feng Mingyang was about to drag his heavily injured body and launch a combat skill to attack Long Chen, his entire body was sent flying by Long Chen's punch. His internal organs were already heavily injured. After being hit by Long Chen, he immediately spat out blood and fell to the ground. He was on the verge of death and could no longer get up. Long Chen thought that he was already so heavily injured. If Long Chen didn't save him in this desolate beast region, he would definitely die. Since Long Chen injured him, why would he save him? Feng Mingyang struggled to open his eyes and looked at Long Chen, who was getting closer and closer. He said unwillingly, "You? Who exactly are you?" Seeing the strong unwillingness in his eyes, Long Chen thought of himself. He actually pretended to be this kind of person's grandson for so long. He sneered in his heart and immediately withdrew his dragon soul transformation. When he saw Long Chen's appearance, Feng Mingyang's face was first filled with shock and disbelief. Then, it turned into an intense unwillingness. Under this intense subversion in his heart, he, who was on the verge of death, suddenly lost his breath. Not long after, he died in the Yellow Springs. Long Chen looked at his corpse and sneered. "Before, you wanted to kill me. Now, you've only died in Chen Xiongzhou's hands. You can't blame me for this. Hey, he gave us Dream Lingji. If we just kill him like this, wouldn't that be bad?" Lingxi was a bit hesitant. Not all good things need to be returned. For people like them, they just want to use benefits to get rid of me so that they don't get what they want. This is more or less a trade. What's so good about it? Lingxi's expression darkened. She thought for a moment, then said, "Then I've saved you twice before. Now, you help me find Dream Lingji. Does this count as a trade?" Long Chen was stunned. He said unhappily, "Is your brain a donkey? You're the one. Fine. I won't fight with you." But Xueqi, looking at the little person on his shoulder who was glowing and wrapped in mist, Long Chen said calmly, "If this is a trade, I hope it continues and never ends." Lingxi could hear the meaning behind Long Chen's words. Her face instantly turned red. It was unknown whether she was so angry or so shy. At this time, Long Chen was standing not far from the metal plate. At this time, the metal plate had lost all signs of life and had turned into an ordinary piece of metal. Long Chen picked up a stone from the ground and smashed it against the metal plate. Seeing that there was no movement, he carefully touched the metal plate. What surprised him was that this mysterious metal plate was actually a little cold. Long Chen knew that the endless sea of fire from before was caused by it. According to his estimation, this metal plate should be very hot. At this time, he was looking at the metal plate. The front of the metal plate was embossed with the image of a blazing sun. Other than that, there was nothing else. "Lingxi, can you tell what this is? What's strange about it?" Lingxi furrowed her brows and danced around the metal plate for a while. Only then did she shake her head and say, "I'm still not sure. There's a great power inside, but it's been sealed. From what I can see, this metal plate seems to be the inheritance key of some expert from the Middle Ages, medieval era. Is it the era after the immemorial era where sects and clans stood in great numbers? It's said that the experts of that era left behind many inheritances. I didn't expect it to be true. Indeed, but it's just my guess. What you got is only a key, not a treasure. So it's useless for now. You should hide it first and return to the Yang clan." Long Chen thought so too. He nodded and put the metal plate into his cosmos bag. Just when he was about to leave, he suddenly saw the corpses of Chen Xiongzhou and Feng Mingyang. They had just died not long ago and there was still a bloody aura around them. Long Chen was still in the state of dragon soul transformation. At this moment, he felt his blood rolling as if he saw delicious food. His originally red eyes were filled with bloody aura. "What's wrong?" Suddenly seeing Long Chen's lifeless look, Lingxi asked anxiously. "They're already dead. This blood is wasted here. If I use blood refinement to qi, I'm afraid I can improve my strength to the next level." Long Chen's tone seemed to be restraining himself, but he still couldn't help but speak out the desire in his heart. At this moment, the blood-red divine dragon shadows in his body were all roaring crazily. All of them opened their mouths and formed a powerful mental force, encouraging Long Chen to move forward and use blood refinement to qi on them. Seeing that something was wrong with Long Chen, Lingxi suddenly pulled Lingxi's sword until it hurt Long Chen and woke Long Chen up from that state. She then said seriously, "Hey, I have something to tell you. Listen carefully." Long Chen also didn't know what happened just now. When he saw the corpses of the two of them, his entire body immediately entered a state of extreme hunger. And the delicious food was right in front of him. If it wasn't for Lingxi, he was afraid that he would have refined Chen Xiongzhou and Feng Mingyang's blood into true qi. In fact, ever since he obtained this blood refinement to qi mystique, Long Chen had always felt that it was indeed a little inappropriate to use this move on humans. This was because this move was a method of plundering, harming others to strengthen oneself. It was too bloody and vicious. Previously, He only did it to Bai Zhanxiong because he really hated him to the extreme. Moreover, according to Long Chen's own morals, plundering other people's blood to strengthen oneself was indeed not a good method. It was fine for beasts, but if it was used on humans, it would probably incur the wrath of the masses. I also don't know what kind of dragon the primordial divine dragon's blood essence that you obtained belonged to, but it should be an evil dragon. This blood refinement to chi technique is so bloody. It's obvious that it's an evil dragon technique. It's fine for you in Baiyang town, where there aren't any powerhouses restraining you. However, in some big places, it's best not to use this technique in public. Otherwise, those powerhouses will use evil reasons to cripple you. Moreover, I don't know if using it too much will affect you in any way. This type of blood attribute divine dragon is usually full of killing intent. I'm afraid that you might lose yourself because of it one day, so it's best to be careful. Ling Xi's words were like a wake-up call to Long Chen. Previously, he had been extremely excited when he had obtained the blood refinement chi transmuting technique. He had slaughtered many underground blood lizards, but he hadn't expected that this technique would have such an effect on his temperament. Now that he thought about it, if he had continuously slaughtered for the sake of becoming stronger, he might have really lost himself. Moreover, on the path of cultivation, steady progress was also very important. This method of increasing one's true chi might also cause one's cultivation to be unstable. Thinking of this, Long Chen still felt that it was better for him to use blood refinement to chi as little as possible. After all, there were many ways to become stronger, and it didn't necessarily have to be blood refinement to chi. Even if I use blood refinement to chi less, the speed at which I become stronger won't slow down. Seeing that Long Chen had changed his mind, Ling Xi's worry disappeared. She smiled and said, "That's for the best. Let's go back to Baiyang town now. Although I estimate that the evolution fruit will only ripen in about 8 days, there might be a slight deviation." Long Chen's curses resounded in the sky above the Skyburn mountain range. Chapter 52. The distance from Burning Heaven mountain range to Great Desolate Mountain. Long Chen had already walked for almost a day. When he was about to reach the Great Barren Mountain, he discovered that there seemed to be no abnormalities in the Great Barren Mountain. This meant that the evolving god fruit had not ripened yet, and the battle between the Bai and Yang families had not yet begun. Long Chen let out a sigh of relief. Luckily, the god evolution fruit hasn't ripened yet. Little Shi, next time if you're not sure, I'm begging you, please tell me clearly. I know you're so long-winded. Long Chen stopped talking nonsense. Seeing that the divine evolution fruit was about to ripen, the Yang family would probably be very anxious this time, so the most important thing now was to quickly meet up with a Yang family ancestor, and then discuss the matter of the divine evolution fruit together. Soon, Long Chen entered Baiyang town. There were fewer people in Baiyang town, and the streets weren't as noisy as before. Everything was calm, but Long Chen felt like it was the eve of a storm. Even if the Yang family became the town lord's mansion, the Bai family still had 2 9th-layer dragon vein experts. Their overall strength was still slightly stronger than the Yang family. Now that the Lingwu family had left, and the Bai family didn't want to admit defeat, many people in Baiyang town knew that the Bai and Yang family, who used to be as close as brothers but now hated each other as deep as the ocean, were about to have a big fight. Because of this, fewer people dared to go out, which was why Baiyang town was so peaceful. Soon, Long Chen saw the gate of the Yang family. However, there were more than 10 guards at the gate, and all of them had a nervous look on their faces. Long Chen suddenly had a bad premonition in his heart, and he hurriedly quickened his pace. At this time the guards saw him. Immediately, one of them went back to report, while the others came to greet him. "Young Master Chen, the old ancestor said that after you return, you should return. Go find him immediately." This person looked anxious, which made Long Chen even more worried, so he almost rushed into the Yang family. Soon, the Yang family's ancestor and the others came to greet him. Seeing the Yang family's ancestor's ashen face, Long Chen immediately knew that the situation was bad. He glanced at the crowd and saw that everyone had a deep frown on their faces, but young Xueqi was missing. "Grandpa, where's my mother?" Seeing Long Chen's expression turning to anger, the Yang family ancestor grabbed his arm and made him sit down on a nearby stone bench. The Yang family ancestor's face was solemn as he said, "Chen, I'm telling you, but don't be rash because there is still a way." Long Chen's eyes turned bloodshot. Now that the Yang family ancestor had said this, he was 100% sure that something had happened to young Xueqi. Although he couldn't explain it clearly to her, Long Chen would never allow anyone to hurt her. Hearing the Yang family old ancestor say there was a way to remedy the situation, Long Chen said coldly, "Grandfather, speak. I am not an impulsive person. Tell me what happened and the result. I will listen to your opinion before acting." The Yang family's ancestor nodded with a sad and angry expression on his face. He said, "It's like this. Yesterday, Xueqi ran out of town alone, but she didn't want to be discovered by the two old men from the Bai family, so she was captured and brought back to the Bai family. Don't worry, they didn't kill your mother on the spot, which means there is still a chance. Chen, it's your grandfather's fault for being useless. I went to the Bai family and fought with the two brothers, but I was alone, so I was no match for them. But I am sure that your mother is fine." So that's how it was? He had just wanted to forgive Yang Xueqi and remember that he would protect this woman in the future. However, she had actually been kidnapped when he had just gone out. To Long Chen, this was a provocation that could make him furious. Since Long Chen killed by Zhanxiong, Yang Xueqi went to Long Qinglan's grave. At that time, Long Chen didn't think much of it, but he didn't expect that Yang Xueqi would be kidnapped because of this. "You kidnapped my mother, but didn't kill her. By family, although I don't know what you are planning, but as long as my mother is slightly injured, I, Long Chen, will drink your blood and eat your flesh." When he thought of Yang Xueqi, anger rose in Long Chen's heart, and blood gradually rushed to his head. When the Yang family saw Long Chen's current state, all of them were as quiet as cicadas in winter. "No, my mother is still in their hands, and the Bai family hates me to the core. If I waste any more time, something might happen to my mother. If that happens, even if I kill the entire Bai family, I still won't be able to save her." Thinking up to this point, Long Chen suddenly raised his head and looked at the Yang family's ancestor. "Grandfather, I wasn't here before, and something happened to my mother. It's all my fault. Now that I'm back, I want to kill the Bai family." The Yang family's ancestor thought that this was the only way. If they wanted to defeat the Bai family in the fight for the evolution god fruit, they would definitely have to fight with the Bai family. Although he was still worried that Long Chen was not Bai Li's opponent, now that his daughter was in their hands, the Yang family's ancestor was also worried. He said coldly, "Chen, this time, let's go together. I want to see what the Bai family can do to us. Qing Xian, you guard the Yang family. If something happens to the Yang family while I'm not here, I will hold you responsible." The Yang family's ancestor wanted to attack the Bai family with Long Chen. If the Yang family didn't have an expert to guard the Bai family, something might happen. Although he wanted to fight the Bai family, for the sake of the overall situation, Yang Qingxian still nodded. At this time, Long Chen and the Yang family's ancestor had already rushed out. Everyone in the Yang family clenched their fists as they watched them leave. At this time, Yang Yuntian frowned and looked at Yang Qingxian, who was also frowning, and said bitterly, "Big brother, the two old men of the Bai family are more than 60 years older than him, and they have more than 60 years of fighting experience. How can he be their opponent? Is our Yang family really finished this time?" Yang Qingxian also shook his head and said, "I don't know, we can only leave everything to fate." Hearing Yang Yuntian say the word finished, Yang Wu, Yang Lingyue, and the others suddenly looked miserable. The others also began to discuss, and some even began to cry softly. At this time, Yang Lingqing was staring at Long Chen's leaving figure. Seeing Long Chen's panic, it was obvious that he was concerned about Yang Xueqi. Yang Lingqing was also very happy that the mother and son could restore their relationship. She also silently hoped that Long Chen could bring Yang Xueqi back safely. At this time, Long Chen's blood circulation had accelerated many times, and the Yang family's ancestor could also feel that his body was emitting a strong murderous aura. This aura, even the Yang family's ancestor faintly felt a little afraid. "Chen, your mother should be fine now. You have to stabilize your emotions, and don't act recklessly. If you hurt your mother because of impulsiveness, you will regret it even more." Long Chen also realized this problem, but how could the anger and worry in his heart disappear so easily? He could only nod and said, "Grandpa, I'm fine, but this time, I must teach the Bai family a lesson." The Yang family's ancestor didn't say anything, and soon the two of them arrived at the Bai family's house. But what surprised Long Chen was that at this time, there was no guard in the Bai family's house. He directly kicked the Bai family's door, but found that there was no one inside. "Long Chen, there is no need to look, there is no one in the Bai family's house. At this time, Lingxi's voice sounded, and Long Chen had already walked around the Bai family's house for a while. The Yang family's ancestor also walked over with a livid face, and said coldly, "The Bai family actually all left. Chen, what do you think they are doing?" At this time, Long Chen finally forced himself to temporarily put down his monstrous anger, and forced himself to use his brain to think about the problem. But when he thought of the Bai family's despicable faces, and thought that young Xueqi might be in great danger at this time, and thought that she was also a pitiful woman, the murderous intent in his heart continued to expand. He had already decided to protect her, but now he couldn't protect her. This feeling made him feel very aggrieved. And his hatred towards the Bai family was even heavier. "I said, don't ever anger me. Otherwise, you will definitely die miserably. Worse than Bai Zhanxiong." Seeing the anger in Long Chen's eyes, the Yang family's ancestor didn't know whether he should be happy or angry. Happy that there was finally no estrangement between the mother and son, but angry that the Bai family wanted to break up the relationship between the mother and son, that they had finally accepted each other. At this time, Long Chen had already thought for a moment, and said, "The Bai family must have evacuated all of their people because they are afraid that we will come here and kill their family, or use them as a threat. But it is impossible for the Bai family to give up on the evolution fruit. I guess their strongest people have all gone to the barren mountain. Grandpa, we have to hurry over." The Yang family's ancestor thought that it was very reasonable, and the two of them were about to go to the barren mountain. But at this time, in the direction of the barren mountain, suddenly there was a burst of colorful light, and a rich fragrance suddenly swept the entire barren mountain, and spread towards Baiyang town. Long Chen, the evolution fruit is really going to ripen in advance. Hurry up and go over. With this phenomenon, it won't be long before it matures. The evolution fruit? Long Chen's eyes burst with a fiery light. If my guess is right, you guys are going to use my mother to threaten me when we are fighting for the evolution fruit? Hearing Long Chen's muttering, the Yang family's ancestor frowned, and said, "The Bai family hates us to the bone. There is no reason to capture Xueqi, but not kill her. Now that the evolution fruit is about to ripen, they must be using Xueqi to threaten us. At that time, we will have to take care of Xueqi's life. Using my mother's life to threaten me?" Thinking of young Xueqi, his blood almost rushed into Long Chen's sea of blood, and Lingxi also felt the thick violent energy on Long Chen's body. She suddenly thought of a saying, "The dragon's reverse scale, those who touch it will die." Long Chen was now a dragon warrior, and he had obtained the primordial divine dragon's blood essence, so his body was completely marked with a dragon's mark. At this time, the Bai family had undoubtedly touched Long Chen's reverse scale, which caused Long Chen to erupt with such a monstrous blood essence. The dragon's reverse scale, those who touch it will die. Looking in the direction of the great barren mountain, Long Chen took a deep breath, and then madly rushed forward. Behind Long Chen, watching Long Chen's gradually rising aura, the Yang family's ancestor revealed a gratified look, but when he thought that the Bai family might use young Xueqi to threaten him, his brows furrowed, and the worry in his heart grew deeper. Originally, I didn't know if Chen was Bai Li's opponent, and with Xueqi's restriction, could it be that our Yang family has really reached the end? Chapter 53. Long Chen had just returned to Baiyang town from the direction of the Great Barren Mountain. He didn't expect to return so soon. But this time, there was a strong killing intent. "Mother, I will definitely save you." At this time, the fragrance of the evolution god fruit had already spread throughout the entire barren mountain. Even in Baiyang town, there were already people coming out of their houses. Their faces were filled with amazement as they smelled the rich fragrance in the air. Just by taking a few breaths, they felt refreshed. However, it was difficult for ordinary people to find out where the fragrance came from. However, some of the experts also gradually discovered some clues. At this time in the Yang family, everyone was still gathered here, waiting for news from Long Chen and the Yang family's old ancestor. At this time, they suddenly saw a seven-colored light rising from the Great Barren Mountain. Yang Qingxian and Yang Yuntian already knew that the evolution god fruit was actually going to mature at this time. Suddenly, Yang Qingshuan's expression changed. The younger generation didn't know about the evolution fruit, so they could only discuss it among themselves. At this time, Yang Qingxian and Yang Yuntian walked to a corner. Yang Yuntian's face was gloomy as he said, "The evolution fruit ripened at this time. The two old ghosts of the Bai family might not be in the Bai family anymore. I guess father and Long Chen will go there now." Yang Qingxian didn't think of this, but after Yang Yuntian's reminder, he suddenly understood. His face was bitter as he said, "So the reason they didn't kill Xueqi is to threaten our Yang family in the fight for the evolution fruit. Our Yang family's strength is weaker than theirs. Chen also doesn't know what's going on. If this continues, our Yang family basically has no chance of winning." Yang Yuntian gritted his teeth and said, "Big brother, our family is suffering a great disaster. Are we just going to wait here? Although I'm not strong enough, I don't want to wait for death like this. In my opinion, our Yang family is indeed finished this time, but we can't let our descendants die. Let Wu bring the old and weak out of Baiyang town, and us brothers will fight again. What do you think?" Yang Qingshuan's gaze was also very conflicted. He looked at Yang Wu and Yang Lingqing and said, "Yes, we can die, but the Yang clan cannot be wiped out. We have lost this time, but if our juniors escape from Baiyang town, there will always be a chance for them to make a comeback. At that time, let them avenge us." Seeing that Yang Qingxian had agreed to this risky idea, Yang Yuntian knew that it was an affirmation. He looked at the huge Yang family and sighed, "I didn't expect that because of the family, the Yang family, the evolution Yang family, the Bai of the Yang family would lose. Fortunately, before father left, he had already put all the important properties of the Yang family into this Cosmos sack. With these, Wu and the others will be able to grow up quickly. 10 years later, they might be able to avenge us." Looking at Yang Yuntian's fearless eyes, Yang Qingxian patted him on the shoulder and sighed, "Second brother, I have underestimated you all these years. I didn't expect you to be more courageous than me. What I thought before was to wait for death here. Now that father and the Yang family have entered the Great Barren Mountain, I'm afraid the battle won't last long. We have to act quickly. But what you said just now, I have to add something." "What?" Yang Yuntian was stunned. Yang Qingxian looked in the direction of the Great Barren Mountain and said, "The most heaven-defying genius of our Yang family is not Chen Yang, but Wu Er. Our main purpose in going to the Great Barren Mountain is to fight against Chen Yang's opponent, let him escape, and then meet up with Wu Er and the others. With Long Chen here, in 5 years, the Bai family will suffer from our Yang family's revenge." Yang Yuntian sighed helplessly when he heard Long Chen, and he said, "I admit that you're right. He does possess extraordinary natural talent, but it's a pity that he's too young. Otherwise, our Yang clan wouldn't have lost." While Yang Yuntian was sighing, Yang Qingxian had already gathered Yang Wu, Yang Lingyue, and Yang Lingqing, and was ready to instruct them on the specific details of escaping from Baiyang town. Looking at his son who was maturing day by day, Yang Qingshuan's eyes flashed with tears. He patted Yang Wu on the shoulder and said in a choked voice, "Wu Er, in the blink of an eye, you are already 22 years old. It is time to take responsibility. Listen, father will now give you an important task." Yang Wu and the other 2 young juniors looked at each other, not knowing what Yang Qingxian meant. Looking at their young and energetic faces, Yang Yuntian pursed his lips and tears flashed in his eyes. He knew that in the future, these young people would probably have to experience a lot of hardships. "The 3 of you will shoulder a great responsibility today. If anything happens, bring your heads to see me. This important task is to be responsible for moving the old and weak of our Yang family." With the guidance of the 7-colored light, the direction that Long Chen and the Yang family patriarch were moving in was very clear. Soon, they rushed into the Great Barren Mountain and headed towards the valley where the evolving god fruit was. At this time, the Yang family patriarch and Long Chen did not know that Yang Qingxian and Yang Yuntian had already arranged to move the old, weak, women, and children. However, if the Yang family patriarch knew about the actions of the 2 brothers, he believed that he would also be very pleased. He absolutely admitted that Long Chen was powerful, but compared to the older generation, he was really too young. What he needed was to grow, not participate in the bloody battles of the older generation. This kind of risky battle could be left to the older generation. What Long Chen needed to do was to maximize his potential and grow into a super powerhouse. At that time, the Bai family would collapse in front of him and not die prematurely here. However, at this time, Long Chen's blood was surging, and the Yang family patriarch also knew that he could not stop him at all. In desperation, he could only say, "Chen, later on, you must act according to the circumstances. Don't be impulsive. Impulsiveness will not only harm you, but it will also harm your mother." Long Chen nodded and said, "Grandpa, don't worry, I know what to do." When he said this, he had already calmed down. Hearing that Long Chen's tone had become much colder, the young family patriarch heaved a sigh of relief. However, he did not hear the coldness in Long Chen's heart at this time. Looking at this stubborn and valiant grandson of his, the young family old ancestor was filled with emotion, but at the same time he was filled with admiration. He secretly made up his mind that if they really faced a trap, he would rather give up his life in order to let Long Chen live. Soon, the two of them arrived outside the valley. At a glance, Long Chen saw the evolving god fruit tree in the depths of the valley, which was emitting a bright seven-colored light. However, the light mostly came from 3 places on the tree, which were the 3 evolving god fruits. Now is the time when the evolving god fruit is about to ripen. If the evolving god fruit is completely ripe, then the tree will completely wither and turn into nothingness. Now that the tree has begun to wither, I think it won't be long before it completely ripens. Faced with such a scene, Lingxi was also a little nervous, and her voice was a little shaky. To be honest, young Xueqi was actually captured here by the Bai family, and Lingxi was also very angry. The Bai family had used such a sinister method to harm the Yang family, and now they actually used such a despicable method to kidnap the Yang family. Lingxi looked down on them very much, and her current emotions were basically twisted together with Long Chen's emotions. At this time, Long Chen's soul was emitting coldness and ruthlessness, and she could deeply feel it. These 2 old bastards, let Long Chen teach you a good lesson. I'll beat the shit out of you. Lingxi waved her small fists in the space of the Lingxi sword. Walking into the valley, Long Chen saw the entire scene in the cave with a glance. At this time, the people in the cave also saw the arrival of Long Chen and the Yang family's ancestor. Their eyes suddenly turned cold, and they all stood up. Long Chen glanced over and saw Bai Sheng and Bai Li. The others were not here, and he didn't know where the Bai brothers had hidden them. But this was even better. If Bai Zhanfeng and Bai Zhanlong were here, the other side would have 2 more people, and at that time, it would be even more troublesome. However, Long Chen's heart was filled with doubts. These 2 cowards from the Bai family, didn't they want to ask the Scarlet Blood Church for help? But it was clear that they didn't. Long Chen guessed that the Bai family felt that after kidnapping young Xueqi, they would be able to eat the Yang family. So they were too lazy to invite the Scarlet Blood Sex people to divide the evolution god fruit. Each evolving god fruit was very precious, so if it wasn't necessary, the Bai family wouldn't give it to others for free. Behind the evolving god fruit tree, Long Chen saw young Xueqi. At this time, young Xueqi was leaning against the wall of the cave with disheveled hair. Her body was tied up with a special iron chain, and her hands were tightly bound, leaving red marks. But fortunately, young Xueqi was still conscious, so she didn't suffer any injuries. At this time, seeing Long Chen and the Yang family's ancestor come over, her eyes immediately turned red. Seeing Long Chen and the Yang family's ancestor come over, the 2 Bai brothers sneered. Their hatred towards the Yang family was not small, especially towards Long Chen. So no matter what price they had to pay, they had to kill Long Chen today. They captured young Xueqi but didn't kill her, so that they could have a greater chance of killing Long Chen today. Previously, when dealing with the Yang family, such a careful plan had been destroyed by Long Chen. So this time, in order to destroy the Yang family, dominate Baiyang town, and obtain the ripened evolving god fruit, the Bai family had made ample preparations. With such preparations, if I still can't kill you too, then I, Bai Sheng, have lived all these years in vain. Although the evolving god fruit has ripened a little earlier, it won't affect us killing you. Seeing Long Chen and the Yang family's ancestor walk over with cold eyes, Bai Sheng gestured behind him and said in a low voice, "The 2 of us brothers will go deal with these 2 bastards first." His voice was so low that even Lingxi, who was far away, couldn't hear it. Then Bai Sheng and Bai Li looked at each other and walked towards Long Chen and the Yang family's ancestor. "I don't believe that I can't kill you with 2 sets of arrangements. Xiong Yun father will avenge you today. And Shurchen and Ji, grandfather will also avenge you today." Originally, there was no need to prepare so much. The 2 of us are enough to deal with you, but the hatred in my heart really doesn't allow me to make any mistakes. Yang Tsongqiong Dai. Updated at midnight. After watching, have you sent the flowers? Have you voted for the PK? Chapter 54. It was already noon. Although it was autumn in August, the sun was still scorching hot. On a tree-lined path to the southeast of Poplar Village, there was a group of people advancing. Among them, there were a few large but simple carriages that carried some luggage. Most of the people in this group were old, weak, women, and children. All of them had miserable expressions on their faces. "Mother, why do we have to leave Baiyang town like this?" "I don't want to go to grandmother's house." Several children were fooling around, but under the pull of the adults, they could only move forward reluctantly. At this time, the group suddenly stopped. At the front of the group, there were two middle-aged men with bloodshot eyes. At this time, they turned their heads. It was Yang Qingxian and Yang Yuntian. Behind them were Yang Wu, Yang Lingyue, and Yang Lingqing. They had just left Baiyang town, and because they were still enemies with the Bai family, they basically did not cause any trouble. Yang Qingxian and Yang Yuntian looked at the three juniors, gritted their teeth, and said, "The three of you, listen up. If we can't protect the bloodline of the Yang family, we will not let you off even if we become ghosts." At this time, Yang Wu was still fine, but Yang Lingyue and Yang Lingqing were already sobbing. The two women looked at their father, whose eyes were bloodshot, and thought of the words they had said. They also knew that the two of them were now going to die. Thinking of the future of the Yang family and the responsibility on their shoulders, their hearts were suddenly filled with bitterness and grievance. Since they were young, they had lived carefree lives in the Yang family. But they did not expect that they would encounter such a disaster today, forcing the three of them to escape with the old, weak, women and children. And all the experts of the Yang family had to deal with the enemy, and they might not even return. Such a tragic separation of life and death. How could these two juniors who knew the truth bear it? Although Yang Qingxian did not say anything, the women of the Yang family had long heard about the matter of Bai and Yang. At this time, thinking of all kinds of serious consequences, several people actually began to sob lightly, and soon, a large group of people were crying. "Why are you crying? If you cry again, I'll kill you." Seeing the gloomy atmosphere, Yang Yuntian's face turned ashen as he looked around. Although Yang Yuntian's strength wasn't high, his aura was extremely imposing. So these women and children were extremely afraid of him. Now that he was angry, they were so scared that they didn't dare to cry. But in truth, they all knew in their hearts that the Yang clan was completely finished this time. Compared to the Bai family, the original #1 power in Baiyang town, they were still a notch below. Yang Qingxian saw that the others had quietened down and said lightly, "Don't think too much about it. Moving you out of Baiyang town is just to make you feel safer and we can fight with more confidence. It doesn't mean that our Yang family has lost. After we've defeated those crazy bastards, we'll come looking for you immediately. This operation is completely under the command of Yang Wu and the other two. If any of you don't listen to orders and affect the journey, then don't blame me, Yang Qingxian, for being impolite. I won't say any more nonsense. Second brother, let's go." After giving instructions, Yang Qingxian looked at Yang Wu and the other two, nodded to them, and said softly, "Wu you Qing the future of the Yang clan depends on you. But I believe that you can do it well because you are the descendants of our Yang clan. None of the descendants of our Yang clan are cowards." Yang Wu nodded with tears in his eyes and said, "Father, don't worry. Even if I have to give up my life, I will listen to you and do this well. But you must promise me that you must come back alive." "Yes, father, I can't live without you." Yang Lingyue also looked distressed. Yang Lingqing looked at Yang Yuntian and then looked at Yang Qingxian. Although she was also sad, there was still a strong confidence in her eyes. Because there was such a person, she believed that he would never let the Yang clan suffer such a disaster. Although she had no confidence in her heart, she still believed in it. This was because that young man had given her many surprises and accomplished many things that she thought Long Chen would never be able to do. Before leaving, Yang Qingxian suddenly said to Yang Wu, "If Long Chen can come back, listen to him in the future. But if he is impulsive, you must stop him even if you have to die." After saying that, without waiting for Yang Wu to react, Yang Qingxian and Yang Yuntian quickly disappeared from everyone's sight, leaving Yang Wu, Yang Lingyue, and Yang Lingqing to look at each other bitterly. At this time, they were all very panicked and helpless. "Let's go. We must live well." Yang Wu's eyes were stern as he gritted his teeth and commanded the team to move forward. As for Yang Lingyue and Yang Lingqing, despite the helplessness and pain in their hearts, they could only grit their teeth and persevere at this time. "May the heavens bless my Yang family, bless my grandfather, bless my father and uncle, bless him. Please." Under the leadership of the three juniors, the Yang clan's convoy moved forward in an orderly manner. At this time, two black figures jumped down from a tree and looked at each other, revealing cold smiles. The Yang clan actually let these juniors escape like this? The Bai clan sent dozens of us to guard Baiyang town for this reason. Let's go back and tell the Bai clan. When the Bai clans by Zhanlong and the others catch up, won't these little guys die? I heard that the Bai clan's patriarch gave the only two high-grade healing elixirs in the clan to Bai Xueqi and Bai Xueqi. Bai Xueqi finally recovered from his previous injuries and became a man again. His strength is also about to break through to the 8th layer of the Dragon Vein realm. As for Bai Xueqi, he actually only recovered after suffering such serious injuries. Did you see that? Yang Lingqing is in that team. Young Master Bai Xueqi seems to be interested in Yang Lingqing. Last time, his balls were broken, but this time, his balls have been fixed. Maybe when we get the news back, his balls will come in handy. I really don't know if he can still be used. Looking at Yang Xueqi, Long Chen forcefully suppressed his monstrous anger. He could only do his best to restore his aura to a calm state. Only then would he be able to display his great combat strength. At this time, he and the Yang clan's patriarch were directly facing Bai Shang and Bai Li, who had stood up. The two sides were closing in on each other in the valley. Since they kidnapped Xueqi, but didn't harm her, why didn't they use her life to threaten us? Long Chen also thought of this point. However, in the blink of an eye, he smiled. In his heart, he had some answers. He said, I think it's probably because they are too confident in their own strength. My mother's words will probably only be used after they are defeated. However, at such a close distance, do you think I will give you a chance? Will you have a problem dealing with Bai Li? Slowly approaching this old man whose eyes shone with a divine light, one look was enough to tell that he had gone through thousands of battles. Bai Li, the younger brother of the Bai family patriarch. The hatred and anger in Long Chen's heart gradually found an outlet to vent. Now that the Yang family patriarch had suddenly asked this question, without saying a word, Long Chen directly rushed towards Bai Li. Seeing that Long Chen was the first to make a move, the originally tense scene suddenly became explosive. Bai Li was forced back by Long Chen, and at this time, the Yang clan's patriarch and Bai Shang, who had been quarrelsome for a lifetime, finally fought again, madly fighting. With a light exchange with Bai Li, Long Chen was completely suppressed by the other party's vigorous qi, and his whole body was also pushed back by Bai Li. When he saw that Long Chen was actually so weak, Bai Li was immediately shocked, and then laughed madly. With your level, you actually think that you are an expert of my level. What wishful thinking. In order to prevent you from swindling others and continuing to think of yourself as a genius, I can only take your dog head today. Seeing that Long Chen was actually easily pushed back by Bai Li, the Yang clan's patriarch was not confident in his heart, and at this time Long Chen, who was forced to a corner by Bai Li, suddenly raised his head and sneered, It's just a casual punch, what's there to be proud of? It seems that the Bai clan is only at the level of a commoner. As for the dog head, whoever's head is broken today, that person will be a dog head. In the process of speaking, Long Chen had already begun to transform the dragon's soul. Previously, when Long Chen transformed in the Yang clan, it had already shocked both Bai Shang and Bai Li, not to mention now, at such a close distance, seeing that there were actually blood-red dragon scales and bone spikes on Long Chen's body, it made the Bai clan's patriarch recall the tragic death of his son, and his heart was extremely angry. Second brother, remember this time, avenge my son. Looking at the blood-red scales on Long Chen's body, Bai Li was first shocked, then excitedly licked his lips, and said, It's actually really a beast warrior, but even the most powerful beast warrior can only raise your strength by one level, and I have broken through the heavenly dragon vein. This kind of strength is not something you can believe. Don't worry, big brother, isn't this kid a piece of cake for me? Although it's a beast soul transformation, I can tell with a glance that this kid's beast soul transformation isn't pure, and he can't even tell what kind of demonic beast he refined is. He can't even compare to a real beast warrior, so how can I, Bai Li, let him escape? Although he was still a little confused about Long Chen's current appearance, at this time, the Yang clan's patriarch and Bai Shang were already fighting like water and fire. Bai Li also sneered, and with a move of his feet, he suddenly rushed towards Long Chen like a storm. When he flashed his finger, a storm suddenly attacked Long Chen, and the huge vortex that seemed to be liquid, like the yellow springs, instantly descended in front of Long Chen. The 9th level of the Dragon Vein realm, little dog, this is a realm that you can't imagine. Netherworld Heavenly Finger. Yellow Springs 9 Revolutions. Turn. The Yellow Spring's 9 revolutions was a move that Long Chen was all too familiar with. He had seen Bai Xueqi and Bai Zhanxiong use it before, and the power of this move was several times stronger than Bai Zhanxiong's. However, it was clear that Long Chen wasn't the same Long Chen who had dealt with Bai Zhanxiong previously. Looking at the surging attack, he didn't panic. This was because the endless power in his body, as well as the blood-red true qi that was 10 times stronger than before, gave him endless confidence. After reaching the 7th level of the Dragon Vein realm, this was the first time that Long Chen had met an expert like Bai Li, who could make him burst out with all his strength and fight to the death. I once used the Taishan Dragon Seal to break Bai Zhanxiong's Netherworld Heavenly Finger's Yellow Spring's 9 revolutions. This time, let me use the Azure Dragon Seal to break your Yellow Spring's 9 revolutions. Otherwise, how can I, Long Chen, show my improvement? Update time change. In order to ensure that there would be updates at all times of the day, there would be 3 chapters a day, and they would be updated at 0, 0, 0, 12 o'clock, and 1800 hours every day. Chapter 55. Feeling the aura of the Dragon Seal, Bai Li sneered coldly. It seems that you are going to use the Taishan Dragon Seal. I heard that Xiong Er's 9 revolutions of the underworld was defeated by your Taishan Dragon Seal. This time, let me turn the tables and let you see what the real 9 revolutions of the underworld is. Is that so? As Long Chen rapidly performed the hand seals, the whistling red aura quickly formed in his hand and turned into a blood-red image of a divine dragon that coiled around his arm. It was vaguely similar to the appearance of the ancient blood spiritual dragon on his body. The image of the dragon seemed to have come to life at this moment. Its eyes stared coldly at the 9 revolutions of the underworld, full of disdain. The Yang family's old ancestor, who was fighting with Bai Shang, also saw that Long Chen actually used the Azure Dragon Seal to fight against the 9 revolutions of the underworld. His eyes suddenly widened. He admired Long Chen's boldness from the bottom of his heart. However, boldness alone was not enough. The Yang family's old ancestor had been immersed in the Dragon Seal for decades. Of course, he knew that the Azure Dragon Seal could not block the 9 revolutions of the underworld. Therefore, he suddenly looked very anxious. But everything happened in an instant. Suddenly, a furious dragon roared. Under the great power of the Netherworld Heavenly Finger, the Azure Dragon Seal erupted with all its power. Long Chen's body tensed up at this moment. This body possessed great power. This made Long Chen seem to have turned into a humanoid demonic beast, pouncing towards the 9 revolutions of the underworld. The red shadow instantly turned into a blood-red image of a divine dragon. It was as if Long Chen's body had already collided with the 9 revolutions of the underworld. The 9 revolutions of the underworld had a powerful turning ability, while the Azure Dragon Seal was a completely indomitable attack. The two forces collided at this moment. Suddenly, sand and stones flew everywhere. Trees were cut off from their roots, and branches and leaves flew everywhere. Boom! The two of them were blasted apart and retreated. Using only the Azure Dragon against the Yellow Spring's 9 revolutions, Long Chen was still at a disadvantage, so he retreated a little further. His qi and blood were tumbling more fiercely than Bai Li's. However, with the support of Long Chen's powerful and tough body, he could basically suppress these small injuries. As for Bai Li, although he wasn't injured, Long Chen had used the Azure Dragon Seal to fight against the Yellow Spring's 9 revolutions. Bai Li was shocked at first, but then he felt humiliated. This instantly added another layer of anger on top of his rage. Kid, you're courting death. He originally thought that he could easily kill Long Chen, and then cooperate with Bai Shang to kill Yang Zongqiong. However, just the first move and accidents began to occur. When the Yang family patriarch saw this scene, although he was already used to Long Chen's heaven-defying performance, he was still surprised. Seeing this kid's indifferent face and not the slightest bit afraid of Bai Li, he suddenly felt that there might be hope for the Yang family today. Looking at Bai Li, Long Chen's heart was clear. He didn't know how strong he was going to be against Bai Li, but he knew that the Netherworld Heavenly Finger had a total of 3 fingers. That was the true power of the Netherworld Heavenly Finger. If Long Chen wanted to defeat Bai Li, he had to face the last finger. And if he used the Taishan Dragon Seal to fight against the Yellow Spring's 9 revolutions, it would inevitably create a gap in the last finger. At that time, Long Chen would also feel psychological pressure. But now, Long Chen took a risk and successfully passed the psychological pressure to Bai Li. At this moment, Bai Li approached him with a ferocious expression, and the aura on his body continued to rise. Long Chen could vaguely feel that he was going to use the last move. The broken dragon seal of the Yang family only has 2 moves, but the Netherworld Heavenly Finger has a total of 3 moves. So no matter what, the Yang family will never be a match for the Bai family. As he sneered, a sharp force was circulating in Bai Li's finger, as if there was a sword hidden in his finger. The sharp black force flowed in a straight line between his fingers, and the aura grew stronger and stronger until even the Yang family patriarch could feel it in the distance. It's the aura of the Bai family's last finger. Bai Li actually used it on a junior. Although he was terrified, he couldn't help Long Chen as Bai Sheng was holding him back. Therefore, he could only pray that Long Chen would be able to survive the last finger attack. When Bai Li used the last finger of the Netherworld Heavenly Finger, Long Chen finally used the strongest move he had ever used, the Taishan Dragon Seal. In the past, his strength had not reached the 7th stage of the Dragon Vein realm, so he could not use the full power of the advanced battle technique. But now, not only did he have enough true qi, but the nature of the technique had also increased by 10 times. The power of this super-condensed true qi was even more terrifying than the amount of true qi Long Chen had multiplied by 10 times. Coupled with his strong dragon body, what shocked the other 3 was that the power of Long Chen's Taishan Dragon Seal was actually not inferior to the last finger of the Netherworld Heavenly Finger. In the cave, young Xueqi was also looking at Long Chen worriedly. Her eyes were originally very dim, but since Long Chen came, they gradually recovered. When Long Chen directly used the Azure Dragon Seal to block the 9 revolutions of the Netherworld in front of her, a smile appeared on her face. This young man from a good-for-nothing playboy had grown up to this point, which really shocked her. Now, after all the shock had passed, her heart was filled with infinite pride. This is my son. In the past, I forcefully pushed him to Long Qinglan's side, but he is indeed my son. Now that he is so powerful, he has already surpassed me, and has become the focus of the entire Poplar town. When she saw Long Chen use the Taishan Dragon Seal to fight the last finger of the Netherworld Heavenly Finger, she knew that the winner would be the strongest move of both sides, and the outcome would be revealed at this moment. At this moment, young Xueqi was extremely nervous. Her arm, which had been tightly bound by the iron lock, was tightly clenched into a fist. At this moment, Bai Li was already charging towards Long Chen. A powerful gust of wind whistled through the air. Long Chen even felt as if the entire world was shaking. 9 blood-red dragon images appeared, as if they were 9 heavenly dragon seals. They rapidly circled around Long Chen, and a powerful aura spread out in all directions. Following Bai Li's movements, Long Chen also let out a roar, activated the Taishan Dragon Seal, lowered his head, and dashed towards his opponent. Suddenly, the ground in the valley was shaken by Long Chen, and the soil flew in all directions. Bai Li's side was not the least bit weak. He looked coldly at Long Chen, and the attack in his hand had already completely taken shape. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. In front of our Bai family's Netherworld Heavenly Finger, the Dragon Seal is just a piece of shit. With a roar, a sharp light burst out from Bai Li's arm, and like a huge sharp sword, it stabbed towards Long Chen. Netherworld Heavenly Finger. Finger of Heaven and Earth. Seeing this powerful attack, Long Chen did not panic. He frantically urged his true qi, and the Taishan Dragon Seal, under the stimulation of the blood-red true qi, had already undergone a mysterious change. It was as if Long Chen's blood had already integrated into the Taishan Dragon Seal. The 9 divine dragon images were scarlet, and they all roared, as if they had a mind of their own. And now, what Long Chen felt was that this was basically a power that he could not control. His blood seemed to be boiling, and the whistling 3rd finger of the Netherworld Heavenly Finger was not that frightening to him. Netherworld Heavenly Finger? Under the Dragon Seal, you are destined to be dim and lightless. With an explosive sound, the 9 divine dragon images roared, condensed into a destructive force, and were suddenly attacked by the wildly running Long Chen. Taishan Dragon Seal. Boom. This time, both sides used their strongest strength, and this was a confrontation between the 2 of them, so the scene was much more terrifying than before. Such a terrifying confrontation of power set off a cloud of dust, and the Yang family's patriarch and young Xueqi frowned. At this moment, Long Chen could be considered dead or alive. Yang Tsongqiong, in front of my Bai family's Finger of Heaven and Earth, your Yang family's Taishan Dragon Seal is just a piece of shit. That little bastard is already dead. It's your turn next. Bai Sheng's savage laughter pressed towards Yang Tsongqiong, And at this time, Bai Sheng did not even look at Bai Li, and launched an earth-shattering attack on Yang Congqiong. As for Bai Li, he knew how heaven-defying this younger brother of his was, and even he himself was not sure if he was Bai Li's match, let alone a little kid like Long Chen. The final confrontation between Bai Li and Long Chen directly caused a small part of the valley to collapse. Under the nervous gazes of the Yang family's patriarch and Yang Xueqi, the dust gradually dissipated, and when they saw the scene in the arena, the Yang family's patriarch and Yang Xueqi were shocked, but it quickly turned into joy. Chen, well done. You are really the pride of our Yang family. The Yang family's patriarch's words made Bai Sheng laugh, and he said, "Are you trying to divert my attention with those words?" As he spoke, he launched a storm of attacks towards the Yang family's patriarch. In fact, Bai Sheng admitted that he and the Yang family's patriarch had always been evenly matched, so this time, he was also waiting for Bai Li to finish off Long Chen, and then he would deal with the old man together with him. From the Yang family's patriarch's words, Bai Sheng immediately knew that the Yang family's patriarch was lying to him. He forced the Yang family's patriarch away with a palm, then looked behind him, and said excitedly as he turned around, "Second brother, finish off Long Chen, quickly help me deal with this." At this point, he had already seen the situation in the arena. At this time, under the sky full of dust, between the two people, one was standing, but the other was vomiting blood, and had been sent flying to the vicinity of the cave. At this time, this person was lying on the ground with a pale face, and his body was twitching, obviously injured. How could Bai Sheng not recognize that this person was his own younger brother? And after Long Chen defeated Bai Li, he directly rushed towards Yang Xueqing's position without a word. Such an unbelievable thing happened, and Bai Sheng did not have time to think about what was going on. When he saw Long Chen's action, he immediately exclaimed, "Senior brother Xueqi, quickly help. After reading the book, give me some flowers. It would be even better if I can get some VIP PK support." Chapter 56. When Bai Sheng shouted Xueqi, Long Chen already knew that something was wrong. He originally thought that he could win this battle, rescue Yang Xueqi, and obtain the evolution god fruit. However, at this moment, it was obvious that an accident was about to happen. Long Chen was originally puzzled as to why the two Bai brothers kidnapped Yang Xueqi but did not use her. It turned out that there were other people in the cave, and this person was obviously a big shot. The two Bai brothers probably invited him over to prevent any accidents. However, it was obvious that the accident had already happened. The two Bai brothers did not expect that Bai Li would actually be defeated by Long Chen. They originally thought that they had the upper hand, but they did not expect that Bai Li would actually be defeated by Long Chen. At this moment, Bai Li, who was knocked to the ground by Long Chen's Supreme Mystery Dragon Seal, did not lose consciousness. At this moment, his face was pale, and he looked at Long Chen with a fierce and crazy gaze. He sneered and said, "Boy, I did not expect that you could actually defeat me. However, you did not expect it either. Although the two Bai brothers did not think highly of you, we also made sufficient preparations. I believe that Xueqi will let you know what pain and misery is." When Bai Li said this, Long Chen already felt that there was a powerful aura coming from the depths of the cave. Even Lingxi did not notice this powerful enemy, and Yang Xueqi, who was not far away from the evolution god fruit, obviously did not know about it either. Therefore, when she felt that suffocating aura, Yang Xueqi, who had received an unbelievable surprise from Long Chen's defeat of Bai Li, suddenly became distressed. She anxiously said to Long Chen, "You leave quickly. You definitely can't defeat this person. Hurry and take my father away." Her face was filled with anxiety, but Long Chen was indifferent. "This Xueqi is probably from the Sacred Scarlet Blood Church. I wonder what his strength is." At this moment, Long Chen did not have much confidence in his heart. In his heart, Xueqi might be at the 9th level of the Dragon Vein realm, but it was also possible that he was in existence beyond the Dragon Vein realm. If he is beyond the Dragon Vein realm, then with my current strength, I will definitely die. Not to mention saving my mother and obtaining the evolution god fruit. Long Chen understood, but he knew that there was no reason for him to retreat at this time. Although Yang Xueqi was still anxiously trying to dissuade Long Chen's stubbornness and responsibility prevented him from taking even half a step back. "Stop talking. I'm not someone who will easily escape." Long Chen looked coldly at the man who walked out of the cave with a faint smile and growled at Yang Xueqi. Yang Xueqi, who was originally extremely nervous, suddenly stopped when she saw Long Chen's resolute gaze. She suddenly felt that this youth had long since escaped from her line of sight. She had no idea what kind of person he was right now. At this time, the person called Xueqi had already walked out of the cave. When he passed by Bai Li, he looked at Bai Li and then at Long Chen. He suddenly frowned and said, "You being able to defeat Bai Li is indeed not bad. Although there are many people in Yuanling City who can do this. However, to be able to do it in such a small place, you are also a genius." His evaluation of Long Chen was very pertinent. He carefully looked at Long Chen again and nodded his head. He said, "This beast warrior's attire is not bad. If I'm not wrong, it should be an underground blood lizard. Not bad. However, you injured my people today and even wanted to steal my evolution god fruit. We have already become enemies, so I can't let you leave alive." Long Chen was also coldly looking at this person. This person was tall and thin as a stick. He wore a black robe and did not look very old, around 30 years old. However, his eyes were incomparably sinister. The red dot between his eyebrows was the symbol of the Scarlet Blood Holy Church. Another characteristic of this person was that his hair and eyebrows were actually a faint red color. At this time, he was looking at Long Chen's body in amazement. He did not put Long Chen in his eyes at all. Long Chen did not feel sullen because of this. From this person's appearance, Long Chen knew that he was much stronger than Bai Li and Bai Shang. Moreover, looking at Long Chen's current age, he was still indifferent even after defeating Bai Li. Clearly, he was not an idiot, but someone who had truly seen the world. A person who has truly seen the world must be extremely strong. At the very least, he has surpassed the 9th layer of the Dragon Vein realm. Thinking of this, Long Chen felt a wave of powerlessness. However, the other party's disdainful and even dismissive gaze made him feel extremely unwilling. My mother is right in front of me, the evolution god fruit is within reach, and I even defeated Bai Li. How can I be willing to lose here? Long Chen clenched his fists tightly as he looked at the strange and bloodthirsty Xueqi. His eyes emitted a cold glint as he stared at Xueqi. Xueqi felt the unwilling gaze and immediately laughed. He casually fiddled with his disheveled hair and sneered. "You really are a newborn calf that is not afraid of a tiger. You've only defeated that idiot Bai Li and your heart is as high as the heavens. You really haven't seen the world and don't know the immensity of heaven and earth." He then turned to look at Yang Xueqi with a greedy expression. He rubbed his hands together and said, "Is this little girl your mother? She really has an indescribable charm. I really like her." Turning back, Xueqi looked at Long Chen expectantly and said, "Your mother is still beautiful, and you're also quite talented. How about this? Follow your mother to Yuanling City, and I promise not to kill you. What do you think?" Everyone could understand the urgency in Xueqi's eyes. However, the ones who were the first to get angry were Bai Shang and Bai Li. Bai Shang was still fighting with the Yang family's old ancestor, and Bai Li, who was still conscious, looked at Xueqi in disbelief. Then he said angrily, "Xueqi, you promised me that you would kill them all. What do you mean by saying this?" Xueqi glanced at the injured Bai Li and said with a smile, "What do I mean? I, Xueqi, can do whatever I want. Do I need to report to a piece of trash like you? Bai Li, from the day I broke through to the mortal core realm, you and I were no longer on the same level. Are you still stupid enough to think that I will help you?" Hearing this, Bai Li took a deep breath and said, "Xueqi, after so many years of friendship, how can you say something like this, really? Heavenly punishment? Heavenly lightning? All right, Bai Li, don't make me laugh with your words. I really don't know how you managed to keep that naivety in your heart until now." What Long Chen didn't expect was that this Xueqi, who looked like he was in his 30s, was actually around the same age as Bai Li. He should be in his 60s. But Long Chen squinted his eyes. "You old fart, you actually dare to have designs on my mother? You want to take me as your son?" Looking at Yang Xueqing's panicked expression, Long Chen felt pain in his heart. He felt that it was because he wasn't strong enough that she was so terrified. Perhaps it was because she was thinking about the torture she would have to endure in the future. But Long Chen could see the determination to commit suicide in her eyes. With Yang Xueqing's strength, if she wanted to commit suicide, no one could stop her. Although Xueqi was a huge pressure for Long Chen, when he saw Yang Xueqing's panicked expression, Long Chen knew that it was time for him to straighten his back. Originally, it was because Long Qinglan was protecting her, But since Long Qinglan was no longer here, Long Chen knew that he had to take on this responsibility. Old fart. This old fart said that he wants to touch your woman, and he's very powerful to me. If you can see us from the heavens, please bless us so that we can escape from this disaster today. Xueqi's sneer and Bai Li's crazy roar intertwined. At this moment, Long Chen's childish but firm voice sounded in Xueqi's ears. Old fart. You want to be my father's father? Look at you. Even if you come to me and become my grandson, I would still feel like you're degrading me. Long Chen's sarcastic words startled Xueqi. Then, his gaze towards Long Chen became colder and colder, until his words turned into ice. I thought you had some brains, but you're just a stupid donkey. Stupid people don't have the right to live in this world. Fine, I'll send you on your way. But don't worry, I'll take good care of your charming mother on behalf of your father. Bai Li thought that Long Chen and the others would climb up to Xueqi, but he didn't expect that Long Chen would suddenly go against Xueqi. He was startled at first, but then he laughed at himself helplessly. Although this young man from the Yong family has a grudge against me, he does have some guts. But no matter how much guts he has, he'll still die when he meets a mortal core warrior. A mortal core warrior is dozens of times stronger than a 9th-level dragon vein warrior. After saying that he was going to send Long Chen to his death, Xueqi didn't attack Long Chen immediately. Instead, he came to Yang Xueqing's side. Right now, Yang Xueqing's face was still filled with fear, but when she heard what Long Chen said, a determined look appeared in her eyes. Xueqi used his finger to lift her chin. Looking at Yang Xueqing's angry eyes, he laughed evilly and said, "What a beautiful young lady. I heard that you've been a widow for so many years. I'm sure you've been itching for it, haven't you? Big brother here is really sorry. I've appeared too late." He turned to look at Long Chen, shook his head and said, "I could have treated you and your son well, but your son didn't know what's good for him, so I had to destroy him before I could be at ease." At this time, Long Chen walked towards him, step by step. The surging blood-red true energy on his body was constantly surging, and from his blood-red eyes, one could see that his heart was filled with madness and anger. "Old man, let him go," Xueqi laughed and said. "What did you say?" "I said." Long Chen felt as if there were billions of blood dragons roaring in his body. He abruptly raised his head and shouted, "Let go of her." Today's last update. Please give me a surprise. Chapter 57. Seeing how fearless Long Chen was, Xueqi's eyes squinted. He suddenly swung his hand, and Yang Xueqing, who was being dragged by his fingertips, smashed into the stone wall. Although she had the protection of the 8th-level Dragon Vein Warrior's true energy, Yang Xueqing's forehead was still bleeding. This drop of bright red blood had completely ignited the anger in Long Chen's heart. "Xueqi, you actually hurt her?" Xueqi sneered. "She's just an abandoned woman, so what if I hurt her? What can you do to me? Don't tell me you can kill me? Looking at your attitude, I think you're ready to attack. Fine, let me show you the difference between a mortal core warrior and a dragon vein warrior." After saying that, Xueqi unleashed his powerful energy. Long Chen felt like the person standing in front of him was not a man, but a demon beast that could cover the sky. The energy made Long Chen feel like he couldn't breathe. With such energy, even if I use all my strength, I'm afraid I still won't stand a chance. Xueqi had only unleashed his energy, but it had already suppressed Long Chen to the point where he couldn't move. Right now, Long Chen's eyes were glowing with a bloody light. The powerful energy kept reminding him that if he didn't want to die, he had to escape from this place as soon as possible. But when he thought about Yang Xueqing beside him, and the blood on her forehead, Long Chen's blood started boiling. "I don't care if you're a mortal core warrior, there's only one ending for you in front of me, and that is death." Lingxi's sword was on Long Chen's ear. Right now, Lingxi was extremely anxious. The mortal core warrior in front of them was about to attack, so Lingxi could only remind Long Chen again. "Long Chen, I beg you, please don't force yourself anymore. He's not someone you can fight with your current strength. If you insist on doing this, not only will you die, all of us will die as well." "Shut up." Long Chen stared coldly at Xueqi and said in a frosty voice, "My mother is still there. How could I possibly last half a step? Lingxi, you should leave. I believe that the energy of the 5 dream Lingxi mushrooms should be enough for you to find a way to survive." Lingxi's expression instantly changed. She looked at Long Chen in disbelief. She never expected that Long Chen would say such a thing. She immediately cried, You bastard! I'm not someone who's afraid of death. Then shut your mouth for me. Speaking to Lingxi in such a serious manner was also the reason why Long Chen was so annoyed. But in fact, he didn't have any evil intentions towards Lingxi. At this moment, Long Chen had just finished speaking to Lingxi. When Xueqi saw that Long Chen was still acting recklessly under his attack, his admiration for Long Chen had turned into complete anger. He glared at young Xueqi, who was glaring at him fiercely, and said, "Wait until I kill your son, then I'll come back and have fun with you." After saying that, his figure suddenly disappeared in front of young Xueqi. Watch out! As soon as young Xueqing's shrill voice rang out, Long Chen discovered a person standing in front of him. He had prepared the profound dragon seal, which was even more powerful than the one he had used against Bai Li, and it rumbled towards Xueqi. Seeing such a powerful attack from Long Chen, Xueqi's expression didn't change at all. Instead, he punched out with a gloomy expression. In an instant, a blood-red light surged towards Long Chen. The blood-red light looked ordinary, but it was extremely destructive. When the profound dragon seal and Xueqi's blood-red light collided, Long Chen helplessly realized that although the profound dragon seal looked magnificent, the blood-red light was extremely corrosive. With the support of a mortal core warrior's true energy, the profound dragon seal was instantly shattered. After that, the huge blood-red light rushed into Long Chen's body and knocked him away. Long Chen. The old ancestor and young Xueqing's faces immediately turned pale. Young Xueqing couldn't move, and the old ancestor was still trapped by Shang. He couldn't get away from the attack, and he could only watch as Long Chen was knocked away. The other scream came from Lingxi. Seeing that Long Chen was injured and had even spat out a mouthful of blood, Lingxi could only feel the anger in her heart rising to the extreme. During this period of time, she had been with Long Chen. She thought that she was going to die, but she didn't. She had even experienced so many things with Long Chen. There was joy and bitterness. Gradually, she had started to rely on this young man. She had completely immersed herself in Long Chen's emotions, so when she saw that Long Chen had been beaten to a pulp by Blood Yuanzi in order to save his mother, who had looked down on him in the past, Lingxi suddenly felt her heart shatter. Lingxi was already extremely flustered, and she didn't know what to do. At this moment, Blood Yuanzi's cold laughter rang out again. He slowly approached Long Chen with a mocking smile on his face. People who don't know the immensity of heaven and earth usually die miserably just because they have some small achievements. You're not the first, and you won't be the last. However, this is the first time I, Blood Yuanzi, have a chance to end your life that was originally destined to shake the world. The stench of blood on this person's body caused Ling Shi, whose cultivation had dropped to almost zero, to tremble. However, when she thought of Long Chen's current miserable state and looked at this person's smirking face, the anger in Ling Shi's heart gradually ignited. You bullied him. You deserve to die. As she looked at Blood Yuanzi, Lingxi gradually forgot about herself. In her heart, the person who had been hurt by Blood Yuanzi wasn't Long Chen, but her, Lingxi. At this moment, Long Chen actually felt a powerful force rushing into his body and destroying it. This force immediately caused him to lose consciousness. His body was in imminent danger, and he was about to die here. If he died, Yang Xueqing, the Yang family patriarch, and Lingxi would all die here. When they died, the rest of the Yang family wouldn't be able to survive either. He carried a heavy responsibility on his shoulders, but unfortunately, he didn't have the strength to resist. Although he had made rapid progress recently, it still wasn't enough. Only a true powerhouse can protect the people they want to protect. I, Long Chen, am far from this realm. If I die like this, I still have too many things to accomplish. I really can't accept this. I want to become stronger. Although he was roaring crazily in his heart, the energy from Blood Yuanzi's body had already entered his internal organs. Suddenly, a powerful devouring energy erupted from his body and directly devoured Blood Yuanzi's strange attack. However, Long Chen's face was even paler now. In that instant, he suddenly felt as though there was a huge stomach hidden in his body. This stomach was billions of times bigger than his body. What Long Chen encountered couldn't satisfy it at all. Long Chen knew that this stomach belonged to him, so he still felt very hungry. He needed an unimaginable amount of energy to truly grow into a supreme existence. Perhaps that would be the legendary dragon. Blood Yuanzi's true qi is actually the same as mine. It also contains the power of blood. However, its nature is only twice that of ordinary true qi. It can't even compare to my dragon soul transformation. He suddenly remembered that Shui Yuan was from the Scarlet Blood Church and that Long Chen had seen him before. Bai Zhanxiong had sold the Jadeite Jade Pavilion's women to the Scarlet Blood Church's people. Long Chen's brows deeply furrowed. The fact that they can cultivate this light red true qi must have something to do with the ladies of the Emerald Jade Building. When his body completely devoured Blood Yuanzi's energy, Long Chen woke up from the shock. He was wondering why Blood Yuanzi hadn't taken his life yet. However, when he opened his eyes, he saw Lingxi's sword rapidly enlarge in front of him again. The white mist filled the air in front of everyone's shocked eyes. Lingxi's beautiful figure, white dress, waterfall-like long hair, and refreshing fragrance appeared in front of Long Chen once again. This time, she still had her back to Long Chen. Just like the previous 2 times, her every move was full of determination without a trace of hesitation. Long Chen's heart was in turmoil. He knew that Lingxi only had 5 dream Lingji mushrooms to sustain her life. It was unknown how long she could live. If she used her power now, it would be very disadvantageous for her. If Blood Yuanzi was too strong and she consumed too much energy, she might just turn into ashes. With tears in his eyes, Long Chen suddenly shouted, "Little Shi, don't! Come back here!" However, Lingxi only moved a little. She didn't turn around, so Long Chen couldn't clearly see her beautiful appearance. At this moment, under the horrified gazes of the Yang family patriarch and the others, Lingxi's eyes flashed coldly. Blood Yuanzi was already charging towards Long Chen. When he saw such a strange girl suddenly standing in front of him, he was also stunned. However, the surging power in his hands didn't stop. Blood Cycle Fist. Suddenly, a blood-colored fist mark covered the sky and covered the earth as it flew towards Lingxi in front of Long Chen. Although Long Chen was extremely nervous, everything happened in an instant. When Blood Yuanzi used the Blood Cycle Fist, a clear voice reverberated in front of everyone's eyes. Dream Immortal Sword Art. Blade Dance Cloud. Long Chen suddenly felt his vision blur. The mist around Lingxi stirred and soon, sword shadows appeared from the mist like countless women dancing wildly. Long Chen was dazzled. All he knew was that all the pure white sword shadows gently swept past Blood Yuanzi's body before everything returned to normal. Everyone was stunned. Long Chen stared blankly at Lingxi. At the moment, Lingxi had already turned into a small ball of mist and merged with Lingxi's sword. Under Lingxi's control, Lingxi's sword turned back into an earring and returned to Long Chen's ear. Just as Long Chen was feeling extremely anxious, Lingxi's weak voice was heard. "Don't worry, I will be fine after a short nap." However, this simple move has already used up the medicinal power of 3 Dream Lingji. I won't be able to help you casually in the future. However, you scoundrel, I am really not a coward who is afraid of death. This silly girl, in order to save him, she had risked her life. How could Long Chen not understand? Long Chen knew that his previous words had indeed hurt her heart. However, Long Chen looked at Blood Yuanzi, who was standing there in a daze. It's a new week. This week's flowers are very important. If you are reading this book and you like it, please log in and send some flowers to the poor me. If the book isn't easy to write, please send me some flowers. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.